out if you are already a victim today. Please go to HomeTitleLock.com. Use the promo code BILL to get a free title history report, plus a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. On this Wednesday, after decades of experiencing horrendous violence, the Mexican people are finally demonstrating against their government's impotence in fighting against the drug cartels. As we write in Confronting Evil, cartel leaders have amassed billions of dollars while murdering at will and, of course, sending poison to the USA and other countries. In addition, cartel thugs terrorize the Mexican people by extorting legitimate businesses and violently attacking any and all opposition. President Trump has offered to coordinate with Mexico to destroy the cartel leadership, but Presidente Claudia Sheinbaum loudly declined. Why? I believe Ms. Sheinbaum is frightened for her own safety. There is no other reason, and reasonable people know it. The Mexican government is simply not strong enough to control the drug merchants. And now many Mexicans themselves have had enough. They are protesting in the streets. So I do expect President Trump to take direct action against the drug cartels in Mexico. And it will be violent. And Sheinbaum should back it. If she doesn't, it'll happen anyway. Back in a moment. Imagine a pharmacy that actually makes your life easier. All Family Pharmacy handles it all. Consultations, prescriptions, fulfillment, shipping. As we head into the cold and flu season, now is the time to stay prepared. From antibiotics and antivirals to ivermectin and more, they've got you covered. Licensed doctors review every order for safety, and everything ships right to your door. Please visit allfamilypharmacy.com/bill. Use promo code BILL10 for 10% off. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. Going to see some patchy fog this morning as temperatures a little bit colder back towards the upper 40s, but we're going to continue to warm back up close to the 60-degree mark this afternoon. Looking at mostly cloudy skies and some chances of showers and thunderstorms begin into Thursday. That'll last into Friday evening before clearing for a drier weekend ahead as temperatures are back towards the lower 60s as we look off throughout the second half of the week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
There's a lot to talk about today, St. Louis. Let's get the conversation started. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on NewsTalkSTL.
Okay, what do you make of the entire Epstein vote situation? What's going on at the Capitol after everything that happened yesterday? We're going to get to that here in just a little bit. These are big questions that are going on. Hey, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Hey, halfway there. Mike Ferguson here, obviously. Okay, so let's start here in St. Louis, though. Kirk Hilsinger from the St. Louis City GOP was with us on Tuesday's program. A lot of ground to cover. Obviously, yesterday was the day that the Quo Warranto trial of Sheriff Alfred Montgomery happened as well. So we were talking about that as we head into that and the bigger picture as to how this is affecting the entire city and what's going right in the city at this point. Here's how that discussion went.
Let's start with loaded dice. The Quo Warranto is happening. The trial is happening today.
Yes.
He's desperately trying to hold on to his job. I think he might be the only person on the planet who thinks he has a chance to hold on to his job, would be my guess at this point. So our guess, Susie's far more educated guess than mine, is that he's likely on his way out at some point, whether it's today, next week, or whatever the case is. But then he's got to deal with the criminal stuff.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Normally, your own sense of honor would tell you, it's time to go. I do call him the jailbird jailer because that alliteration aside. But it's not just one. It's this warranto has 6 parts in it. Yes, one had been thrown out, but it's replaced by the fact that he's sitting in jail and cannot effectively run the office.
Yeah. So when you look at what this means to the city, because I mean, voters made a bad choice, obviously, but the sheriff's office, nobody knew what it did because it had such a niche thing. Now we all know because of all the drama. What do you think's the bigger effect on the city itself? It's an oversized effect from the actual office.
I think you'd couple this with Kim Gartner and Tashara Jones. City voters are waking up and going, wait a minute, why are we going down this far left train? And let's not forget that Montgomery was Megan Green's pick, even though she's trying to stay away from his as much as possible. So I think city voters, they're waking up. They're not waking up as fast as I would like, but they are waking up to the fact that maybe we should think about who we vote into the office. And to be honest with you, for sheriff, we didn't really have much of a pick as far as the list of candidates. We only had 3. We had Vernon Betts, and we had Joy, and we had him. Unfortunately, he had won the primary.
Right. Well, and I wondered if, try to find the silver lining is the fact that this is such a blatant example of why you have to be careful who you vote in. Is that an opportunity? I mean, even for the GOP in this city to at least get behind and help promote candidates who are better qualified and more likely to be more focused on actually doing their job instead of either lining their pockets or pushing a far left progressive agenda.
I am looking for candidates. I mean, we do have the 2026 election coming up. We also have the 2027 election. I need candidates to run, and I'm actually kind of working in the background trying to get the state to help address some of these municipal election problems we have, such as it costs $750 to file to run for alderman when it costs only $500 to run for governor, and you don't need the 2% of signatures in the area. So I'm trying to make it easier for people to run.
Right.
And I've even talked to the Libertarian Party, and the Libertarian Party's like, yeah, it's hard for us to find candidates to run too. So we do need better we need more choices, and we need better choices to fill these spots.
Yeah. I did not know there was $750 to run for alderman in St. Louis.
1% of the salary. It's $1,600 to run for mayor. It's $2,100 to run for comptroller, and $800 to run for board of alderman president, which please, somebody run for board of alderman president.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Megan Green seems to be burning bridges right and left, but still, she's the establishment. She's the machine right now.
Yeah. Right. She is that wing of the party, the Rashid Ulrich, the Sonny, Alicia Sonnier, and the Annie Schweitzer wing.
Yeah.
And Sam Page too.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting. It's an interesting thing because Page and Tashara Jones had such a close working relation. They literally were trying to negotiate and become the co-mayors of a unified entity at one point.
Well, they were very much for the merger.
Oh yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. Okay, we're visiting with Kirk Hilsinger from the St. Louis City GOP. Okay, but let's talk about something going right.
Yes.
So the mayor announces her pick to replace Sarah Russell. And this guy, I would say, is overqualified for the job. I mean, they got somebody that had to be beyond their wildest dreams if all they were looking at is somebody who's qualified to run a city emergency management agency. There's the pick, which appears by all accounts to be a really good one. But then there's the bigger question, Kirk. What does this tell us about the direction City Hall is going right now when it comes to public safety?
It really frustrates me because I can't condemn Kara Spencer for this pick. She's not checking boxes like Tashara Jones used to do. This person on paper, my gosh, looks more qualified to be in city office than any other city office that I've seen. So I am excited to see this. I'm hoping that he, number one, gets all the sirens fixed in the area. I don't see him from his military background leaving the post when a storm is coming to go to an offsite meeting like the previous one apparently did. And it's very Like I said, it's very frustrating for me because this seems to be like a stellar pick.
Yeah.
So let me follow up on that. And I alluded to this earlier.
Tribalism, Kirk. Tribalism.
I know.
Garrett Spencer and I are on opposite ends of the political spectrum.
Yes.
But I saw her in action just a couple days after the storm in May. And at the time, just observation, I was like, she cares about what's happening here. She wants to make this right. How do you handle that? How do we handle that politically when somebody who is of the opposite party and very different ideas overall from an ideological standpoint, but it obviously pays to work with someone who is competent and is inviting competence in their other roles in the city. There's room to work with, I guess, was my point there. There's room to work with somebody even if you're ideologically on a very different part of the spectrum, right?
Well, I mean, it even comes with our own party. You work on the things that you can work together on. I mean, the snow removal, the emergency warning, bolstering up the police department, addressing fire, addressing the public schools, addressing EMT. The thing that when I pay my 1% earnings tax, which I scream about all the time.
We're talking about that in just a second here.
Yeah. I would love to see that money going for something other than woke, crazy stuff. I want to see basic city services. And it doesn't matter if you live in the city, if you work in the city or visit the city, the city should have some level of basic city services that we all come to expect no matter where we live.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about the earnings tax. That is up for renewal in April. So you can expect the city is probably going to do a big push to get it renewed. It's passed comfortably in past elections, but there's a lot of frustration. What's going on? Do we have a chance to end the earnings tax at this point? Because then obviously the wailing and the gnashing of the teeth because of all the slush funds. But the reality is this is economically hurting the city.
It is. The second highest reason that businesses are closing or choosing not to enter into St. Louis City is that 1% earnings tax. And we've had problems with it from the work from home people. We've had And people are starting to ask, what is my money going for? Like every responsible consumer should ask. I was in I think about 5 years ago, because that's what was coming up, in a state committee meeting where they were exploring, what do you do when you get rid of that state earning or the city earnings tax? And the person in charge of the city budget just kind of stared and just say, I don't know. They don't have any contingency plans for what happens if this tax goes away. I think the city starts needing to figure that out. They also need to address the 99% different tax zones inside St. Louis City to make taxes, sales tax more uniform. And there's other ways of collecting revenue than that 1% earnings tax.
Yeah, and that kind of ties into what I was going to ask, because I think you said it's the number 2 reason that drives people away from the city. And number 1 reason I'm going to go out on a limb and guess is crime.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you counter the argument? Well, we need the income, we need the revenue to help, fund policing and law enforcement and help combat the crime.
Look at the board bills and look at what they choose to spend money on.
Yeah.
I equate it with a mad teenager that has daddy's credit card. They don't realize that every dollar that they collect in taxes came from someone's hard work and sacrifice, whether it be the physical work they do or selling off of their assets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also the best way to deal with your revenue issues, expand the tax base, be a city that businesses and residents want to go into instead of 50 to 100 a day moving out of.
Like I tell them, it's a volume deal.
Yeah.
You want to work on volume.
All right. So last couple minutes, we've got Kirk Hilsinger from the St. Louis City GOP. You got a party coming up.
Yes, we do. December 11th. And I know it conflicts with a very important party that I would have loved to go to, but this is more for me. I have to, we're having it. It's our annual Christmas party.
Maybe we'll Zoom the parties together.
You know what? We could probably do that. I am a little bit technical on that. But it's at Pietro's, which is a fabulous place. Very good food. It's $50 a ticket. We're taking cash, check, or charge, and we will have a link on our website that you can buy tickets through. We're also this year collecting toys for tots. So if anybody wants to bring an unwrapped toy, please please do so, and I will personally take them to the Marines to distribute out to a deserving
You
family.
doing like the raffles and all that sort of stuff?
We're doing silent auction.
Silent auction.
So last year I gave away a leg lamp, which Carl in St. Charles. I was happy she got it.
Gile.
Yes.
Without a doubt. And do we know who's going to be there? I mean, first of all, it's just a party. I've been to it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, but we always get some updates from some pretty interesting people.
Yeah, I'm working on that. And unfortunately, a lot of the people that I wanted to come, they're just not going to be able to make it this year.
What he's referring to is this the same night that News Talk's party is. Sorry. We'll record a video message for everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll do it that way. All right, Kirk, let's do the website and give that out for everybody.
It is stl-gop.com.
Okay, 314-912-1019. Obviously, there's a lot going on. By the way, 6:35, so less than an hour, about 45 minutes from right now. Niles Stevens from Mo Tax Relief now going to be on the program. Man, there are some leftist organizations like school districts that are really angry that they're not getting all of their tax increases. I mean, they are really complaining about everything from the senior tax freeze to voters saying, no, I'll keep my money. Thank you very much. So we'll get into their reaction and also what's next. And don't forget the food drive in full swing. Details at newstalkstl.com. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
You know what's going on?
Have a great awakening.
You see through the smoke screen.
It's cool to be woke.
News Talk STL.
Until it's not.
News, analysis, opinion.
Life's legal challenges deserve experienced representation. For over 15 years, Cole Combs, attorney at law, has been serving St. Charles and surrounding counties with comprehensive legal expertise. From tax preparation and estate planning to family law and criminal defense, Cole delivers personalized solutions for your unique situation. You have traffic tickets, need a business formation, real estate matters, one call will handle it all. Cole O. Combs, attorney at law. Call 636-949-0010, extension 3 today, or visit colecombs-law.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Every 2 seconds, someone needs blood. Someone who is fighting cancer, undergoing surgery, or experiencing a life-threatening illness. The need for blood is critical and constant.
I'm Congressman Bob Onder. A single blood donation can save lives. Donate blood today and offer help and hope to those who need it most.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rate you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now. 800-515-2397 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, it's up to President Trump now.
Let's go.
Yep. Okay, so I think there's a lot of really interesting dynamics happening with the Epstein stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one, it's interesting how so many on both sides just now want this. They've wanted this to go away for a long time. I think this is one of those rare cases where there were enough people across the political spectrum and the ideological spectrum went, no. We want to know what the truth is. So almost unanimously, Congress passes this, within hours.
Wow.
427, I think, to 1 in the House. And then the Senate just said, we're not even going to bother recording votes. Unanimous consent, meaning as far as they're concerned, it was 99-0 or 100-0. Whatever. Nobody is on record as voting against it. So now goes to President Trump's desk. So obviously we're going to have, a lot on this in the news up here in just a little bit. But there's a couple things that I'm now wondering about when we ask the question, what's next? One, will we actually get the files? Will we actually get them as promised? Now, there's a couple different things. On one extreme, it could be damning for a lot of really important people, and there's justice or whatever the case is, or they could truly release everything, and we're like, not much there.
Yeah,
I'm okay either way. Just tell us the truth, and if there's a lot and powerful people need to be taken down, good. Then let's go through the hard work of doing that. And if, it turns out that, well, it's not a nothing burger because there were a lot of victims, but it really was just limited to a few perverts out here and we got them. Okay, I'll consider that good news that we got the ones who need to be got.
yeah.
I doubt that's the case because I don't think an entire establishment in both parties fights something like this for so long for there to not be anything there. But at this point, Congress, one of those rare occasions where they did the right thing in a massively bipartisan way. Now the question is, do we trust the government to follow through once President Trump signs this, which he's indicated he's going to do?
Yeah, I've been trying to stew over this a little bit because it really does come down to, it feels like the people versus the establishment when it came to this. I mean, there are people within different administrations that are still currently employed that have had access to this for quite a while. And as we've seen, at least what Kash Patel was telling us about some of the Russian collusion stuff, is that, they were trying to put, evidence in burn bags and dispose of it. It's been a lot of time since it's been fought for. So
yeah,
it's almost like I don't want to go too nihilistic and things, but at the same time, I can definitely see that, and it may not be the president and his personal picks himself, but it could be people behind the scenes that have said, well, we know it's coming, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. And then at the same time, I mean, the people that were against it, trying to stall it, primaries are coming up, and now they're saying, I'm not going to risk my seat to continue this the shenanigans. So.
Okay, so a couple things on this. One, do we have faith that it's even possible that we're going to get the full story, much less justice?
I don't think so.
I'm going to naively hold out hope that we can, and then possibly be proven wrong. I do think what you're describing is what, Vivek Ramaswamy and others have called the deep state and administrative state. So that's a very, very real thing. It's there. Do I think we're going to get everything? No. Do I think powerful people are still being protected? Yes. Do I think it's all Democrats or Republicans? No. Nope. I think I don't know that. I don't know at those elite levels of power and money. I don't know that partisanship matters a whole lot other than just whatever tool you're making money with.
And it's, again, not only Americans either.
Right.
And that's the other aspect of this is that, once you get to a certain level of international power and fame, you start to, funnily enough, but you start to get to that level of, could this strain our foreign relations with certain nations if it comes out?
If it does, it does. Yeah, you know,
I agree.
If it does, it does. I mean, that's where, you know, we need to follow where the truth is. You know, do we need, you know, obviously to keep in mind our foreign relations? Sure, we need, but if the pursuit of justice is in conflict with something, then pursue justice, pursue truth. That's what you do. And I'm going to say this a couple of times today. Republicans, this is not all about Donald Trump. Okay. This is about the victims and the search for truth and justice. Okay. Democrats, this is not all about Donald Trump.
Yep. This
is about the victims and the pursuit of justice and the pursuit of truth on this. So that's where we are right now. I don't think, I have a feeling that many of those who voted yes to release the files probably did so knowing they really didn't have a choice, but probably didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't matter. They voted yes. They ended up doing the right thing. What do you think? Let me know.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
Is your pup in need of a spa day? At Pretty Little Paws, we believe grooming should be a stress-free, tail-wagging experience. Our one-on-one, fear-free grooming ensures your furry friend gets the gentle, personalized care they deserve. No noisy kennels or long waits, just love, patience, and expert grooming in a calm, relaxing environment. Because a happy pup means a happy you. Pretty Little Paws, with 2 locations in O'Fallon and St. Peters. Visit us online at prettylittlepawsgrooming.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewsTalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to. So make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. 800-439-7851. That's 800-439-7851.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
This hour from Town Hall, I'm Rich Thomason. First, the House, then the Senate passed the bill directing the Justice Department to release all of the Jeffrey Epstein files. President Trump says he will sign the bill, although he calls the Epstein matter a Democrat hoax meant to distract from numerous Republican accomplishments since he returned to the White House. The president's formally designating Saudi Arabia a major non-NATO ally.
The president made the announcement at a White House dinner for the kingdom's crown prince, a move that aims to elevate the military relationship between the two countries. While the designation is largely symbolic, it does provide foreign partners with certain benefits in the areas of defense, trade, and security cooperation.
Correspondent Ken Lorman. The Crescent City looks like you are next.
Sources tell AP 250 federal border agents are set to descend on New Orleans in the coming weeks for a 2-month immigration crackdown. Dubbed Swamp Sweep, the operation aims to arrest some 5,000 people across southeast Louisiana and Mississippi.
Correspondent Ben Thomas. A setback for Republicans in a redistricting case out of Texas.
A panel of 3 federal judges has blocked Texas from using a new congressional map that Republicans drew in hopes of picking up 5 U.S. House seats. In a 2-1 ruling Tuesday, the judges in El Paso sided with opponents who claimed Texas redrawing of congressional districts would harm Black and Hispanic residents. Texas filed an immediate appeal with the Supreme Court Tuesday evening. Jason Walker reporting.
Stock futures have been moving higher so far this morning on Wall Street. The Dow futures are up 80 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 125 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This is Dennis Prager for AmFed Coin and Bullion. There's something about the feel of a gold coin in your hand and the way the light reflects off its intricate details that has always captivated me. Nick Grovich, AmFed's owner, turned that same passion into his livelihood. Nick began collecting coins as a teen, and that interest grew into a nationally respected business offering only the finest quality coins at the most competitive prices. But the truth is that although Nick is a rare coin dealer, he doesn't believe in rare coins. Rare coins do not make sound investments, but they do make dealers a lot of money. See, that's part of what I respect about him. AmFed specializes in buying non-performing numismatic coins and turning them into gold or silver investments that provide liquidity and perform competitively against the market. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. Going to see some patchy fog this morning as temperatures a little bit colder back towards the upper 40s, but we're going to continue to warm back up close to the 60-degree mark this afternoon. Looking at mostly cloudy skies, then some chances of showers and thunderstorms begin into Thursday. That'll last into Friday evening before clearing for a drier weekend ahead as temperatures are back towards the lower 60s as we look off throughout the second half of the week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Tim Jones here. I am beyond thankful this Thanksgiving season for God, family, friends, country, and all of you in News Talk STL Nation.
Hi, it's Ken Williams, and for this Thanksgiving season, I'm most thankful for good health for everyone, my family, my friends, and you.
News Talk STL, celebrating family and friends this season of Thanksgiving. Brought to you by Best Buy Flooring, DiGregorio's Food Products, and Golden Chicken.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. Fraud and scams can strike anyone. My office works to ensure that Missouri is free from deception and unfair practices. Last year, we handled over 65,000 consumer complaints and returned more than $400 million to Missourians. If you've been a victim of fraud, call 800-392-8222 or visit ago.mo.gov.
Paid for by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Silicon Valley is trying to genetically engineer better babies. Sean Carney of 40 Days for Life will let us know if this is modern-day eugenics at 5:20.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Well, I'm sick and tired of smart guys.
Susie Moore.
Get out of here and stop playing victim.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm.
Get up, St. Louis.
We have federal regulations that prohibit hunting duck, and yet it's legal to hunt humans.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, get up. This is your cousin.
All right, it's a tale as old as time. I mean, I think they probably, written children's stories about it.
Song as old as rhyme.
Yeah, you grow up, you get elected, you then become a stock market expert, and you make a bunch of money. It's just a tale as old as time. That's how it works.
Oh, that tale.
It's the old American dream.
Okay.
I remember that from Mother Goose.
Right.
Grim.
6:06 right now. And this is highlighted, obviously, again, with Nancy Pelosi announcing she's not going to be running for re-election. And wait a minute, you make how much per year? You live in one of the most expensive areas of the country, and you're a multi-bazillionaire. Oh, but it wasn't just you. It's your husband's a stock market. A lot of stock market geniuses when they get elected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Funny
is there going to be something done about that? We're now joined by Dan Savickas from the Taxpayer Protection Alliance. And just a little bit later on, you're actually going to be testifying about this in Congress today. So Dan, appreciate you joining us here. Let's talk about the reality, because there are some people say, hey, these are smart people. They get elected. They can, if they're smart in one area, they can be smart in another. They just may be smarter than the rest of us. And there's others who say, hey, let's look at reality. Nobody bats 800 in the major leagues. I mean, let's not kid ourselves on this. What's actually happening right now?
Yes. So Congress is currently governed by a law called the Stock Act, which is supposedly meant to prohibit insider trading within Congress. But in reality, what it does is give members of Congress a slap on the wrist for activity that would otherwise be illegal for private citizens like you or I, where you mentioned Nancy Pelosi's all-time stock trading performance. If she gets caught in violation of the Stock Act, the penalty is a $200 fine, and you have to report what you did 45 days after the fact, which is small potatoes compared to the money that she and a lot of other members of Congress are making trading off of the information they have access to. And so many members of Congress are vastly outperforming the stock market. And like you said, we could say that that's just because they're geniuses, or because we assume they're trading off of the non-public information that they routinely get access to in the course of their daily work.
Dan, we've heard conversations about this for years. Different Congress people have pushed either reforms to this act or a new version of it that would really clamp down on this, and it never really seems to go anywhere. What do you think? There's a chance? Are you saying there's a chance this time there might be some reforms?
Well, I think there's a chance. I think the fact that they're having this hearing that I'll be testifying at in just a few hours is an encouraging sign. And recently, a bipartisan group of lawmakers, spearheaded by Representative Chip Roy of Texas and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York, introduced a bill called the Restore Trust in Congress Act, which would just outright ban members of Congress from trading stocks altogether. No reporting requirements, no $200 fine. It's outright banned for them and their immediate families. And when you can get members of Congress like Chip Roy and AOC on the same initiative, that should tell you something that we've crossed the Rubicon here. And you look at any polling, most recent polls show 86% of Americans support such a measure. There's as much momentum as there's ever going to be for something like this. If the time's not now, I don't know when it is.
So Dan, I mean, members of Congress, Congress critters have a right to invest and have a retirement plan and all that sort of thing too. Is there some way outside of an outright ban you can't invest or trade stocks what obviously is getting information the rest of us can't? Is there somewhere in there that because in theory they're going to go back to the private sector someday, but is there a way to possibly avoid a possible legal challenge saying, hey, I've got a right to grow my money too. I've got a right to invest too. Just because I'm in Congress doesn't mean I give up my right to make money. So is there somewhere in I wouldn't want to say the middle, but somewhere in there that could be a way to establish and keep integrity while also allowing people to get elected to office and also still plan for a retirement?
Sure. As I understand the text of the Restore Trust in Congress Act, members and their immediate families would have to put the money in a blind trust to be managed by a trustworthy outside third party, and they don't have access to information about where that account's invested, what's going on, and upon leaving Congress, they get access to it. So they can still have their money invested and make decent returns. It's just not being managed by somebody that has access to non-public information. And as the bill suggests, would restore trust that members of Congress are actually acting in the interests of their constituents rather than trying to enrich themselves.
All right, Dan, I have to confess my naivety or my ignorance because I swear I thought that that was already something that we're supposed to be doing. Like, I remember when Kelly Loeffler was the senator from Georgia, that was a big deal, obviously, because they had substantial means. And there was a big thing about it, her assets being put in a blind trust. Is that something where that's only applying to some of the members of Congress right now, and this would make it, applicable to all of them?
Well, some members choose to do that, to establish that trust and rapport, and there are a good handful of members of Congress who do not have stock portfolios and do not trade publicly. And that's great for them, and we wish there were more of that. But right now, the law does not require that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, the blind trust seems to be like a pretty reasonable restriction, giving what the members of Congress have access to. Does there seem to be an appetite for that? Because what you're going to be doing is asking members of Congress to put themselves in a more restricted position. Does there seem to be an appetite for that right now?
Again, like I said, the vast bipartisan coalition that Chip Roy and AOC have pulled together indicates to me that there is an appetite for that. The question is, does congressional leadership have the appetite for that? You pointed out in the lead up to this that Nancy Pelosi is one of the more successful members of Congress doing this, and that's because leadership has access to the most information of all. So the people that actually have control of the calendar and are able to bring this bill up for a vote or to give it a committee hearing, those members actually have the most to lose by doing that. So even though there may be overwhelming support amongst the rank and file members, leadership might actually slow walk this. So there's an appetite for sure. Whether or not it actually gets across the finish line, that remains to be seen.
You mentioned, we all mentioned Nancy Pelosi because she's so closely associated with this issue. But if I'm remembering correctly, there was also an act introduced not that long ago called the Pelosi Act. Maybe Josh Hawley was
I think
one
it
of
was
the
Josh Hawley. Yeah.
sponsors of that. Did that just kind of die on the vine, or is that something that's kind of being incorporated into this newer version that's being proposed by Roy and Ocasio-Cortez?
It's a similar measure. It's not exactly the same, and the eccentricities are pretty in the weeds. But I think, as you mentioned, the fact that it was called the Pelosi Act makes it very difficult for this to become a bipartisan
Part of her legacy. Come on.
Yeah, so I would not expect the Pelosi Act to go anywhere. If there's going to be any vehicle, it's almost certainly going to be the Restore Trust in Congress Act, the bill I've been talking about.
All right, we're visiting with Dan Savickas from Taxpayer Protection Alliance. Okay, so what's happening? Let's talk about this hearing that's happening today. Where are we in the process with this? Is this just truly the introductory groundwork part of this, or are we nearing some phase where this could go to a full House or to a much larger vote? Where are we in the process right now?
Yeah, this is just an information fact-finding hearing. Myself and a couple of other experts, quote-unquote experts on the issue, who are there to talk about the work that their organizations have done on this issue, the research that they've done. This is not a markup of the Restore Trust in Congress Act or any other specific bill. So I do believe we're still at the early stages of this. But again, this is getting a lot of traction, a lot of media coverage. So Lord willing, in the near to not too distant future, we'll be talking about getting this bill to the floor of the House and then the Senate, and then, Lord willing, President Trump will sign it.
All right. So obviously you're going to be covering this on your blog and your news releases on the website, social media. So Dan, people want to get in touch with Taxpayer Protection Alliance. I always ask the question at the end, how do they do it? What's the way to be in touch?
Sure. You can find all of our content on our website, protectingtaxpayers.org, or you can follow the organization on social media at Protect Taxpayers. The last T in Protect is the same as the first T in Taxpayers.
All right. Got it. Dan, we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much. Good luck at the hearing.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks, Dan. Hey, I know it's only Wednesday, but Friday's going to be here before you know it. And we want your suggestions for our great Friday flashback bump music. So send them in. Get them to Jerome. We want to hear them.
Don't try to make me stop, no inspiration. You have a soul so dark, it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination. Making cold my heart to fight your war.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
NPR, guess what? Got defunded, and they're going to close down operations. If they're not going to get federal funding, well, then guess what? There are plenty of radio salespeople out there in the United States who can sell time, big time. You know why they don't sell hire a sales team? Because nobody will buy advertising because they suck so bad. Oh my God! You don't see people.
You're so correct.
That's it right there.
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Dr. Randy Tobler here, and I know that when you're looking for a dentist, you have to make sure you choose a dental practice that's compatible with you and the needs of your family. Well, I'd like to tell you about my dentist, Dr. Dan Cusimano, and his partner, Megan Dwyer, and their team at Advanced Dentistry at St. Charles. The great team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles can accommodate all of your cosmetic and restorative needs because their passion is general dentistry. Implants, crowns, bridges, even dentures. That what you need the most is what they'll provide in a personalized, focused way. And they can provide therapeutic and cosmetic options like Botox and dermal fillers. Get to know them and all they have to offer by calling 636-978-0226 or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
That's Advanced Dentistry Now, 636-978-0226, or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, folks, it's Chris Salcedo, your liberty-loving Latino on Newsmax. Hey, everybody likes Mike. Mike Ferguson in the Morning. Make sure you check it out. News Talk STL.
All right, the Epstein Files bill heads to the president's desk. So the question now is, what's next? And the trial that was, then wasn't.
Yeah.
And then we'll start up again today, at least in theory. The drama surrounding the sheriff continues. This is just like, it's like, of course this happened.
You never have too much,
you
Alfred.
just can't. No. And a 35,000 pound baseball glove becomes a new landmark today.
That's heavy.
Oh my goodness, the thing is massive. All right, 6:20 right now. Let's go ahead and dump some news on you.
Wake up, America. It all worked out. You know, I mean, they got all the news. The morning news stuff.
On this vote, the yeas are 427, the nays are 1. 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended, the bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
All right. The vote passes nearly overwhelmingly. Congress approving the bill to release the government files on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Acting with lightning speed on Tuesday, the House and Senate approved a bill requiring the Justice Department to publicly release the files. The congressional action happened on a single day after months of delay and attempts by President Trump not to release the documents. Since taking office, he had denounced the Epstein matter as a hoax pushed by Democrats, before saying last weekend that Republicans should approve the bill. Greg Clugston, the White House.
And shortly before that vote, we actually played a little bit of it live here. There was a rally with several of the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's, of his crimes. Among them was Annie Farmer, and she had this to say.
This is not an issue of a few corrupt Democrats or a few corrupt Republicans. This is a case of institutional betrayal. Because these crimes were not properly investigated, so many more girls and women were harmed.
And really, that's what I think we are at risk of losing, Susie, is the focus on this is about the victims and about the justice and about the crimes, not about the politics.
Oh, you mean there were people actually hurt by this?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. That has been kind of lost in the discussion.
Just slightly.
A little bit. Mhm.
So the president's indicated he's going to sign
Yeah.
this bill. And then the question, I mean, we're seeing a lot of conversation on social media. Do we actually believe we're going to get what they're supposed to release?
Well, I have an answer.
Okay.
Sort of. In terms of the mechanism here.
Yes.
Once the bill is signed, the AG has 30 days to turn over, and it's a pretty broad swath of
Right.
material. Basically, everything that the Justice Department or the FBI or the U.S. Attorney's offices have relating to Epstein, Maxwell, the investigations, that sort of thing. There are some exceptions carved out as far as redactions and things that can be withheld for victim privacy purposes. There's a couple, and they're spelled out. It's a one-page bill.
Yeah.
So you can actually just go read it yourself, and it's not so filled with legalese that you can't figure it out.
Yeah.
But so it's got a 30-day window in which this material is supposed to be gathered together and made public, publicly available and searchable.
Yeah.
And then within 15 days of releasing it, the AG is supposed to report to Congress, this is what was done, anything else that needs to be specified.
I mean, basically would they be permitted to withhold anything other than the victims' names, or does this say you have to put it all out there?
No, it's pretty extensive as far as you're putting it all out. There's the exceptions are there's like 6 of them, and they make sense. And I can pull them up here.
Yeah,
It's gonna take me just a second. The victim's identity was the obvious one. But there's a few others. It's personally identifiable information of victims or victims' personal medical files, that sort of thing. Anything that depicts or contains child sexual material, exploitation material. Anything that would jeopardize an active federal investigation or ongoing prosecution, providing that such withholding is narrowly tailored and temporary.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is just before this vote, the DOJ announces, okay, we're going to start investigating some of this.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But even so, when you're talking about it, most of what you're talking about is, going back, numbers and numbers of years. So I mean that I understand that could be a carve out that people have some concerns about, but I also understand the need to include that because if there is actually an active investigation, that does need to be withheld.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, they've got to basically like outline what was withheld without, disclosing it, like the nature of what was
so
withheld.
really there's 2 decision points right now for the powers that be. And one is the obvious, to release and follow it and not withhold things, and 2, the decision as to whether or not you're going to make sure that you are trying to rebuild trust in the institution of government that so many people have lost because of stuff like this and including this.
Right.
And that's not partisan, that's both sides.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's sorely needed is what it is. But I mean, the bottom line is there's going to be a lot of people that are never going to be satisfied that we've gotten the full story, and understandably so.
Right.
And there's some people that are going to be like, okay, we already pretty much knew most of this,
Mhm.
whatever. I don't know that it's realistic to expect there to be massive bombshells. Let me
Right.
put it that way.
Yeah. I think if we just feel like they followed through and released the information, that's going to go a long way. If a lot of people still suspect that you're still finding ways to hold on to it, then that's going to create even more divisions and mistrust.
Right. Yeah, it's not been handled properly, really from the get-go.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Okay, one of the trials of Sheriff Alfred Montgomery, because we need to narrow them down, that was stopped before it started on Tuesday. The sheriff was unable to get to the court. I shouldn't be laughing. The sheriff was unable to get to the court due to being in federal custody on multiple criminal charges. In the attorney general's quo warranto case to remove him from office, the judge delayed the case until today. They're going to try again today, saying it would not be fair to have a trial without Montgomery being able to attend.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I'm just a little puzzled as to why the logistics weren't already
Right.
worked out for that, since they knew this was coming.
Yeah, David Amilati did a pretty good job covering this, so I'm going to play part of his
Okay.
report on this a little bit later, because the bottom line is nobody really knows how this didn't get done, and so we'll see what they come up with on that. Okay, this is interesting here. Illinois is now issuing digital IDs that can be added to your Apple Wallet. Yeah, that are actual legal as IDs.
No, thank you.
Yeah, but that's as of today, they're issuing those. The Secretary of State's office says the digital IDs will be usable at identity readers and valid as a form of ID, even at TSA checkpoints, and they can be set up to use Face ID to authenticate. The system will soon be compatible with Google and Samsung wallets. State officials say this is not a replacement for physical driver's license or ID cards, though you will still need to carry that. But you can use this as ID where somebody says, okay, can you show your ID because you're, I don't know, wanting to buy booze or whatever the case is. You can show that, and that's supposed to be accepted in place of the physical ID if you'd rather do that without handing your card to somebody else.
What?
Yeah.
Was there like a big call for that? Like why?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, you still have to have your ID, your license on you.
Yeah.
So why is this an advantage? What advantage does this give you? And what, setting aside the creep factor?
I'm actually trying to think of ways that this could be of any sort of benefit or use. I mean, I guess, okay, so areas where there are long queues, like lines of people that all have to have their IDs ready, it might speed up and make more efficient and potentially reduce costs that way just by having to scan your ID. But ultimately, this just seems like you're creating a database for a Chinese-style surveillance state. That's really what it seems like to me.
I mean, I'm already in the database. I realize that, but I don't want to make it easier.
We've been watching you. We know.
Sure,
Yeah.
I'm well aware.
Yeah.
It's something about this seems weird to me. Like, why?
Yeah, no, I'm the cogs are turning, but it just nothing's coming. I mean,
Yeah.
because you still have to have it for traffic stops, and that would be where I would
Right.
imagine the best use of this would come in, is to say, here, I am who I say I am. You just, here, officer, scan my phone, and now you can see. And yeah,
I haven't run into circumstances where it was like, oh shoot, I need a digital ID.
Yeah. So basically, like if you go do that suspicious thing of buying cold medicine, apparently you can like hold your phone up and they can scan that to track your purchase instead of having them scan your physical ID.
Because that makes all the difference in the world. I don't get it.
yeah, and I mean, people still steal people's phones. If you leave your phone at home,
Yeah.
now you're without. I mean, I guess that's true for physical ID as well. Just I
I
don't know.
I've been asked to upload a picture of my driver's license.
Sure.
Like on one occasion. I've never been asked for something that would make me think, oh, I need a digital ID.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yep. All right. A 35,000-pound baseball glove will be hoisted to the top of a building in Maryland Heights today. Have you driven by there, up there on Westport Plaza Road? You seen that? Susie, have you seen that?
I have.
The massive size of this thing. Oh my goodness. It is huge. So that massive Rawlings gold glove is going to go on top of the company's headquarters in Westport. They're planning to do that today. It looks like the weather is going to be cooperative. They can do that. One of the largest cranes in the world had to be brought in to complete that project today. This thing is just stunning. All right. And the Blues take another loss. The Maple Leafs find the net in overtime to finish the game. Final score 3-2. Blues have now lost 4 of their 5 games this month.
Oy.
Yikes. Road trip continues on Thursday. They're going to be in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. Going to see some patchy fog this morning as temperatures a little bit colder back towards the upper 40s, but we're going to continue to warm back up close to the 60-degree mark this afternoon. Looking at mostly cloudy skies and some chances of showers and thunderstorms begin into Thursday. That'll last into Friday evening before clearing for a drier weekend ahead as temperatures are back towards the lower 60s as we look off throughout the second half of the week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scott.
St. Louis, it's here. The bigger than Black Friday at Renewal by Anderson. For a limited time, get the biggest dollars off savings of 2025. $330 off every window. $830 off every patio or entry door. Plus, you may have no payments and 0 interest. Renewal by Anderson. Unprecedented winner of the prestigious J.D. Power Award for customers 6 years in a row. Renewal by Anderson. Full-service window and door replacement division of Anderson, a name you've trusted for more than 122 years. $330 off every window, $830 off every patio or entry door. Schedule your consultation today at rbastl.com or call 877-WINDOWS, 877-WINDOWS. Renewal by Anderson, award-winning quality, bigger savings, smarter investment.
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the all-new NewsTalk STL app.
Love the all-new NewsTalk STL app.
On my way to work in the morning.
Usually I'm in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the NewsTalk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Hey, this is Vince Colonnese. I'll talk to you tonight at 8. But now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show on News Talk STL.
Okay, you would think that everyone would be happy when a government program works as it should.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But that is not always the case.
Okay.
Yeah. There are some people, when we touched on this yesterday, there are some people not happy because the government program working as it should is saving people money, and it's saving the money in their pockets and not giving it to government.
So this is just going to be Stump Susie Day. Like, I don't understand what's the argument.
Right. Okay. So we are being joined right now by Niles Stevens. He is with Mo Tax Relief Now. And so we got a couple areas here. There's that. And then there are the school districts kind of stomping their feet because it's going to be harder and harder and harder for them to milk more money out of the residents and the taxpayers. But Niles, appreciate you being on here. Let me start with that first one. I saw this article. We touched on this yesterday. The senior property tax freeze in St. Louis County alone, saving $30 million collectively for over 70,000 senior households in the area. And of course, at the end of the article or the articles, the reporters say And those who are going to lose the most are the school districts and the library boards and all these others who are going to lose X number of dollars. They estimate they're not losing a penny, but that's how we frame the discussion on this. So the government program is doing what it's supposed to do for once, saving people money. And we still have government complaining because they say they're losing money because they're not going to get their guaranteed raises.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for having me on, Mike. I saw that article as well. And, the taxpayers paid everything that they were supposed to pay. And so just because there's a change in the tax code doesn't mean that the government lost anything. They didn't drop a bag of money on the way to the bank or get the Brinks truck robbed or anything. Everybody paid what they were supposed to pay. And at the same time, what we see in like in Rockwood School District with Prop S and even in Parkway School District is that revenues are still increasing. So if I go to my boss and I say, hey, I want a $10,000 raise, and he only gives me a $7,000 raise, did I really lose $3,000? No, they're gaining. So the school districts are doing just fine.
Niles, I think it's interesting. There was this big push for the senior property tax freeze, and everyone seemed to think it was a great idea and it was fair and a good, it was the right thing to do. And yet there's this resistance now, like we've been saying, it's framed as they're losing money. Is there going to be a push from them to make up for that loss in some other tax way?
Well, I think that what Representative Ben Keithley and Mo Tax Relief Now have done with the senior property tax freeze is they're like a tax arsonists. They have started a fire in the state of Missouri for lower taxes, specifically for lower property taxes. And the senior property tax freeze is one of the most popular bills all across the state. So what the senior property tax freeze did was it did not say everybody has to do this in their district. It allowed all of these voters to go out and sign petitions and to advocate for themselves to say, hey, it's too much. You're taking too much of my money. We want to freeze taxes for this sector, for the seniors. And once everybody saw that the seniors got their taxes frozen, we're going to see in 2026 more tax reform so that we can tackle the affordability crisis that the Democrats talk about. We can tackle that as Republicans through the tax code.
We're visiting with Niles Stevens from Mo Tax Relief Now. Okay, you just mentioned the school districts here because we've had a couple of school districts that really, on one hand, are just kind of stomping their feet that they didn't get like Rockwood. They are not happy that voters said no to a tax increase. And they even tried to leverage the senior property tax saying, hey, your taxes aren't going to go up. Go ahead and stick it to your neighbors, and targeted seniors. Voters said no. I saw some of the reaction on their Facebook group. And I got to tell you, I had this sort of, defiant laughter out loud when I was reading their complaining and stomping their feet. Parkway schools also putting out statements on this. They are really, really thrown off, and they've really been shaken up by the fact that the people have said enough is enough. What do we need to be aware of, particularly from government agencies like school districts?
Well, one, they pull on your heartstrings, and they're going to try to guilt you into it, or they try to manipulate like they did with the senior property tax freeze. So they thought that the senior citizens in West County, they really thought that was a golden ticket, and it turned out to be a poison pill. And so I think that really turned off a lot of seniors and a lot of people who already saw their taxes getting frozen, that they were told, hey, just go out and put this tax on your younger neighbor. And that was very distasteful for a lot of the seniors in West County. So we just want to thank all those people that came out and voted no on this tax increase. And one of the things that we did really well with our messaging in this particular campaign in Rockwood was that we made sure that the voters felt comfortable and they felt confident to go ahead and vote no, that the school districts are going to be okay. The teachers are going to be okay. We showed them the numbers. We showed them how much your taxes would go up. And then we also showed them how much the school districts are already receiving in additional revenue each year. So Rockwood's budget from 2021 to their proposed budget or their estimated budgets in 2029, they go from 331 million up to 370 million. So they're still projecting increases in revenue, and at the same time, they're projecting student population decline. So we made sure that the voters knew that the schools are going to be fine. You can say enough is enough, and you can worry about the taxpayer. You can worry about your own personal budget rather than just continuously funding a larger and larger government.
Niles, you kind of touched upon this earlier. There's this sort of increasing appetite now amongst the voting public, now that they've seen that there is a way to secure some tax relief. There might be other ways to chip away at the tax burden. What other measures do you see either the state legislature or your organization pushing for in the coming year?
So we were very happy to see Governor Kehoe come out again and recommit to his campaign promise of getting rid of the income tax. So the income tax is a state level tax. Property tax is a local tax, and we can attack both of those on both fronts because we feel that government is too big all over. The budget in the state of Missouri has doubled from just a few years ago. And so we feel like the income tax is going to be a big push. And one of the great things that the leadership in the state legislature did last year in using the power that we have given to the supermajority Republicans is that their leadership used the tools that they had. They used the PQ. They got IP reform off of their books. They got the abortion debate off of their schedule. So in 2026, we really feel like this is going to be the year for tax reform. So we could see big ideas getting done. They're going to save taxpayers a lot of money through the income tax and also through property tax reform.
Niles, you just said something. It's the second time it's come up this week. We had a conversation with State Representative Jim Murphy the other day, and he said something very similar to what you just said in regarding cutting taxes and limiting taxes as not just about, okay, that's keeping money in our pockets instead of government. It's actually a tool to restrain government and keep government small. So there's more to it than just, I want to keep my money. There's also a putting the chains on government that keeps wanting to grow. So address that just a little bit, because I think a lot of people just look at the impact on ourselves individually, which is fair enough, but there's a bigger picture of keeping government smaller than it would be otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about affordability, and we saw the Democrats talk about the affordability crisis, what we're saying with Mo Tax Relief now is that we want a government that we can afford. And so one of the things that government will do is they'll just spend the money when they have the money. And so the reason that you see some of these woke policies get put in place is because they have the money to spend. Why do you hire a DEI director? We don't do that at the small business that I work for because we couldn't afford to. They can afford to hire these virtue signaling positions and to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to these people for things that don't make a difference in the everyday lives of Missouri residents. And also, I'm looking at budgets throughout this whole process. I saw something the other day. When the government has your money, they get to go out and buy the $600 office chair. Whenever I get a new office chair for my office, I get the $250 office chair. I don't get the Ergo Max 5000 with the additional lumbar support. So the way that you go about this is that you just tell government enough is enough. You cap their money so that they can't go and waste it on virtue signaling or on expenses that you couldn't afford for your own household.
Okay, well, just make sure you're doing stretching for your lower back then.
That's important.
Yes, absolutely.
Just saying. All right. Okay, so let's put everybody in contact with Mo Tax Relief now. What's the way to be in touch? Obviously, especially since the governor says, I want to do this. I want to get rid of state income tax, but it's got to be done in a way that doesn't threaten critical things. And so we're probably looking at something getting phased out and something getting phased in. But to keep your all's take on that in mind, we get in touch how?
Through motaxreliefnow.org. So motaxreliefnow.org. Also, we have a Facebook page that we're getting more active on our Facebook group, through Twitter, X, as well, through our social medias. We put out a newsletter once or twice a month to keep people informed. And we're gonna do another tax rally. We did a tax rally last year at the Capitol. So we're going to have events coming up in 2026 to really push these issues. And you're right about the income tax. That's going to be something that's going to be phased in over time, and it's going to be something that the voters will have a decision on. So it's not going to be coming from on high. The voters will get to go to the polls and decide if they want to keep more of their paycheck.
All right. Thanks, Niles. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
Congress does the right thing for once. Really?
What you just said? What?
I
What
know.
is this crazy talk, Jerome?
I cannot believe that those words came out of my mouth. Okay, but what's next in the Epstein case? Well, we'll give you that update in the news dump here at 6:50. So stay tuned.
Mike Ferguson in the morning
In the Ice Age, how much taxes did people pay?
on News Talk STL.
The Democrat Party is going to have to go back toward the center.
News, analysis, and opinion.
I've never called a talk show before, but this just irked me.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you will be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
SR1 Sundays.
Hi, this is Elizabeth Kaiser. Be sure and check out my show, Straight Lines, this and every Sunday at 8 p.m., right after Stand and Fight, part of SR1 Sundays. Let's meet right here and let's peel back some layers of this crazy world, and you might be surprised at what we find. Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser on SR1 Sundays at 8 p.m., right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser on News Talk STL.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show, and I'm here with Dr. Grant Black. And Grant, does having more economic freedom make a difference in people's lives, such as maybe helping reduce poverty?
It definitely makes a difference. Economic freedom is critical for fostering well-being and prosperity. It enables people to make their own choices and pursue their own interest, like choosing careers, starting businesses, and innovating to make the world better. It thrives in environments that empower people, promote competition, and protect property rights, all while being supported by limited and healthy government. Economic freedom is a catalyst for generating higher incomes, greater wealth, more opportunities, better access to education, and improved health at all levels of society. It makes a difference.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
The secret side of me, I never let you see. I keep it caged, but I can't control it.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
All right, what's next? The Epstein Files bill heads to the president's desk. Also, that trial for Sheriff Alfred Montgomery, well, they're going to take another swing at it today. I'll tell you what happened here in just a few minutes. It just seems appropriate that there's just more drama and silliness that happens. I don't think it would be fitting if there weren't something else that you go, really? When it comes to this entire case.
Kind of, yeah. Par for the course.
Oh, man. And a 35,000-pound baseball glove is, I think, going to become a new landmark in St. Louis today.
That's a big glove.
That's a huge glove. All right, 6:49 right now. Let's do ye old news dump.
The morning news dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
That is old with an E on the end because we're fancy around here.
Uh-huh.
All right, so this is what happened in the U.S. House of Representatives.
On this vote, the yeas are 427. The nays are 1. 2/3 being in the affirmative. The rules are suspended. The bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
All right. And when you also consider the Senate passing the bill by unanimous consent a very, very short time later, what happened is Congress votes overwhelmingly to release the government files on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Acting with lightning speed on Tuesday, the House and Senate approved a bill requiring the Justice Department to publicly release the files. The congressional action happened on a single day after months of delay and attempts by President Trump not to release the documents. Since taking office, he had denounced the Epstein matter as a hoax pushed by Democrats, before saying last weekend that Republicans should approve the bill. Greg Clugston, the White House.
And so it's expected the president's going to sign this bill into place. And then it comes down to what's actually going to be followed through. And we don't really know the answer to that yet.
We don't. I mean, we know that there's a time frame in which the follow through is supposed to happen. But we've gotten a lot of kind of back and forth mixed messages, particularly out of the Justice Department related to this. So, balls in Pam's court.
Yep, exactly. All right. One of the trials of Sheriff Alfred Montgomery was stopped before it started on Tuesday. The sheriff was unable to get to the court due to being in federal custody on multiple criminal charges. In the Attorney General's quo warranto case to remove him from office, the judge delayed the case until today. At least in theory, it's on the docket. They're going to try it again today, saying that it just wouldn't be fair to the sheriff to have a trial without Montgomery being able to attend. And that makes sense to me.
It does. I think he should be able to be there for it. I'm still puzzled by why they weren't able to work out the logistics ahead of that, but that's just me.
Yeah, we'll bring an update on that here in just a little bit. But the short answer is, the spoiler is, we don't have an answer to why that couldn't get worked out.
No.
We know where the obstacle happened. We just don't know why.
Yeah.
That's okay. The FAA has, as you know, lifted all travel restrictions at the nation's biggest airports after the government reopened last week. And so that puts an end to, it's phasing out the delays and cancellations. It's not that they aren't happening, but they're happening less and less each day.
Correct.
Yeah. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy was on Mornings with Maria on Fox Business and explains what led to the decision that caused those cancellations and caused those restrictions in the first place.
We saw, though, more pressure coming from air traffic controllers. We saw risk elevations. And that's why we took the steps to say, you know what, we're going to, over the next week, we are going to reduce capacity by 10%.
Okay, so they're still hopeful that by basically this time next week, everything will be back up at full capacity.
So it needs to be, because that's the busiest travel day of the year.
Exactly. So it's not quite there. So get there a little bit earlier than you normally would if you're traveling, because there is a chance. And also make sure that you're prepared to hang out for a while, because don't be surprised if you still have some kind of delay.
Yeah. I mean, that should just be your sort of mindset and whenever you're traveling, air travel, particularly around the holidays.
Precisely. Yep. Okay. I'm curious what people think about this one. A mental health activist group in Illinois says federal policy changes and the likely Medicaid reforms are intensifying what they call a youth mental health crisis, especially in vulnerable communities. Karen Foley from the Juvenile Protective Association says schools and support organizations are struggling to meet rising needs.
Then you layer on top food cuts, you layer on top of that ICE rage, you layer on top of that the news cycle and social media. And I give kids enormous credit for even showing up and trying.
ICE rage is a mental health crisis of high schoolers now, apparently.
She nailed it, because the next word she said, social media.
Yeah.
So all of this is being spun up by that.
Yeah. ICE rage.
Maybe if you stop intentionally misrepresenting things to scare the crap out of kids, maybe that they won't have so many mental health
kind of
issues.
Like climate change. Yeah. Like we're all going to die. The world's coming to an end if we don't do XYZ, but don't be stressed. It's okay.
Foley adds that she's worried about increasing anxiety among students in quote unquote immigrant communities to go along with the ICE rage.
Wow.
Just going to leave that one right there for you. Okay. Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway says porn sites will now have to check IDs of users in the state. Yes.
This is where the digital ID comes in.
I was just going to say that.
Well, that could be. Yeah, that could be. So the new rules go into effect at the end of the month and require adult websites to confirm the age of users, which means they will need some sort of ID from you, I would think.
Oh, yeah.
Failing to do so will be met with civil lawsuits under Missouri's Merchandising Practices Act. And the Attorney General says if they catch adult sites not checking IDs of some kind, that they will shut down that site in the state.
You know, I am curious about that. I don't want to go looking, but
Right.
I'm
Right,
not going to do a
right.
search. But like for AB, if you want to go and check out their site, it asks you for your birthday, and you just put it
type
in.
it in,
There's
right.
nothing actually checking you. You can make it up. So I'm hoping it's something a little bit more substantial than that.
So from what I've gathered, because there are parts of the internet where they're all up in arms right now and they're mad about this, which I want to say I'm not a fan of sites checking IDs like that, but at the same time, you can't go into a store and buy something or go into like an adult area without an ID. So I think that you actually have to do put like an actual valid ID number and picture and all that. I don't know if they're gonna have you like smile next to the webcam with it or something like that.
I don't know.
But
I don't know how it's gonna
version
work.
of creepy. But yeah, I mean, like
because
I said, this-
the
that
bottom
might
line,
be where
okay,
you
so
need to
here's the effect on this. The bottom line is you're going to be confirming something that says I'm looking at whatever you're looking at there, and that's probably going to incentivize some people to not go to the websites, which may have been part of the point in the first place.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, you got imagination. The world's your oyster for creative, I guess.
Jeez. Oh man. Now, speaking of the digital ID that Susie just mentioned,
Mhm.
Illinois is now issuing digital IDs that can be added to an Apple Wallet. Yeah, so the Secretary of State's office says the digital IDs will be usable at identity readers, so the things that like scan your driver's license. And they say it's going to be a valid form of ID even at TSA checkpoints, and it can be set up to use Face ID to authenticate it.
Mhm.
So the system will soon be compatible with Google and Samsung wallets as well. State officials say this is not a replacement for a physical driver's license or ID card. You're still going to need to carry that around the state. So, all right, a 35,000-pound baseball glove is going to be hoisted to the top of the building in Maryland Heights today. That building, of course, is the Rawlings World Headquarters. That massive Rawlings gold glove is going to be put up today. One of the largest cranes in the world was shipped in to do this. I saw it when I drove in this morning.
Oh, yeah.
The scale of this thing is unreal. I am
Yikes.
telling you, if you're around Maryland Heights this morning, drive by there, just drive by Westport on Westport Plaza Road to see this thing. Because once it's up on top of the building, it's not going to look that big, but it is massive. Absolutely massive.
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peters. For over 100 years, we're proudly serve you St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.
Jamie Allman here for O'Fallon Family Floors. Experience the passion. Oh, yeah. You can go in and see the best variety, the best pricing, the best quality, the best personalized service right there off of Highway K in O'Fallon, or you can have the store come to you. Oh, yeah. Brian and his team take great pride in running a fantastic flooring outlet, and you can get their 5-star ratings right there on Google. Just check it out. It's O'Fallon Family Floors, O'FallonFamilyFloors.com.
Are the days of a personal doctor gone? Not at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Dr. Randy Tobler to share how our design is putting the care back into healthcare. Plain and simple, our members, not insurance companies, get our exclusive focus. That means same or next day appointments, responsive answers to your concerns, and a no-spin, big tool chest approach. It's about time you get serious time devoted to your medical needs. To learn about healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Another country is joining a group of nations considered among America's closest allies outside of the NATO alliance.
We're taking our military cooperation to even greater heights by formally designating Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally, which is something that is very important to them.
President Trump announcing the move during last evening's White House dinner for Saudi Arabia's crown prince. The president also announced future Saudi investments in the U.S. totaling up to $1 trillion.
This opening up of the new avenues of cooperation between the United States and Saudi Arabia is really unprecedented.
An interesting side note, Elon Musk attended the White House dinner. As far as we know, it was his first time back at the White House since his falling out with President Trump over the big, beautiful bill. By an overwhelming margin, Congress has voted to release all government files on the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Acting with lightning speed on Tuesday, the House and Senate approved a bill requiring the Justice Department to publicly release the files. The congressional action happened on a single day after months of delay and attempts by President Trump not to release the documents. Since taking office, he had denounced the Epstein matter as a hoax pushed by Democrats, before saying last weekend that Republicans should approve the bill. Greg Clugston, the White House.
More arguments are scheduled today before a judge as former FBI Director James Comey fights for dismissal of the criminal case against him. His lawyers are hoping to convince the judge that Comey is the target of vindictive prosecution. Comey is accused of making a false statement and obstructing Congress. He has pleaded not guilty. On Wall Street, the Dow futures 110 points higher. NASDAQ futures up 121 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Right now in Ukraine, elderly Jews are trapped in unbearable poverty. Galina, she's a 96-year-old Holocaust survivor who has spent her entire life in the same village. She's sick and alone and facing another bitterly cold winter. And today, like every day, she has to decide to spend what little money she has on food, medicine, or heating. No one should have to live like this, but for Galina and so many others, this is the harsh reality. Look, the Bible tells us that when you bless elderly Jews living in poverty like Galina, you will receive blessings in return. Through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews and your generous donation, you can bring hope to those in need. Your gift of just $25 will help provide a food box packed with life-saving essentials that help feed an elderly Jew struggling to survive. Don't delay. Your gift today will help provide the life-saving food and hope that Galina and many like her so desperately need. UrgentIFCJ.org. That's one word, UrgentIFCJ.org, or call now at 866-338-IFCJ, 866-338-4325.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. Going to see some patchy fog this morning as temperatures a little bit colder back towards the upper 40s, but we're going to continue to warm back up close to the 60-degree mark this afternoon. Looking at mostly cloudy skies and some chances of showers and thunderstorms begin into Thursday. That'll last into Friday evening before clearing for a drier weekend ahead as temperatures are back towards the lower 60s as we look off throughout the second half of the week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
This holiday season, help Feed My People fill the shelves. NewsTalk STL and the STL County GOP are partnering for an annual food drive, November 10th through December 21st. Drop off your non-perishable food donations at all Bartolino's restaurants, all Chris's Pancakes and dining locations, and all 3 Michael's flooring outlets, or at the NewsTalk STL studios.
Tim Jones here to let you know that together we can make a difference for families in need.
Visit NewsTalkSTL.com for complete drop-off locations. Mike Ferguson.
I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. I don't take no from anyone.
Susie Moore.
I disagree on his assessment of the situation.
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on NewsTalk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
Susie, this is the Kofifi dance, not the aqua dance.
Getting hangry.
Susie's having a rough morning.
And
Fair.
I was eating cookies in front of her just to add insult to
I
injury.
know. She's
So-
like, I didn't throw that at him.
You can't eat anything today.
I can't eat anything or drink anything besides water until after my appointment at 10:30 because I'm being good and getting my wellness check so I get my discount for my health insurance.
Yes, so they're drawing the blood and they can't have cookies in it.
No. Dang it.
I looked over, we're all doing the Kofifi, and you've got this like half like I'm trying to smile, but beep, 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 beep.
You don't want to see me hangry.
Oh my goodness. All right. Are we a step closer to justice for Jeffrey Epstein's victims, or are we just in a new phase of the political spin doctoring? Let's get into that here in just a moment. It is 7:06. Obviously, the Epstein stuff, not the only thing happening that you need to keep track of. Susie, what else is on the radar at Red State today?
Well,
This is the Red State Rundown.
Funnily enough, I was so excited to talk.
The
It
one
actually,
time I get the timing right.
I know. Well, I'm thrown off. I'm hangry. But it does relate to the Epstein stuff, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Because there's been continuing fallout in Congress, including last night. We had Jamie Raskin giving a shameful defense of his Democratic colleague Stacey Plaskett regarding her collusion with Epstein during that congressional hearing. Basically, he's like, "Oh, she was just taking a call from her constituent." So
Does she
I guess
represent the island?
yes, she does.
Yeah.
I mean, but the thing is, like, he would have been Donald Trump's constituent too. Had he been taking a call from him, they wouldn't be making. Okay, yeah. So that one's by Katie Jerkovich. We've got another one by Sister Tolja. James Comer drops an eye-opening surprise on Hakeem Jeffries during House debate on Epstein legislation. Turns out Hakeem was soliciting donations from Epstein back in 2013.
2013, though, we were already on to Epstein's case by then.
Yeah. Yeah. And then different part of Congress, Senate, our own Senator Eric Schmidt is demanding a DC appeals court judge suspend rogue jurist James Boasberg ASAP since he has had articles of impeachment filed against him. They're saying he should be suspended and not be sitting on the bench during.
Right. So settle this because these are serious allegations. But in the meantime, because they're serious allegations, you don't get to decide anything else.
Yeah. That's what they're calling for.
Yeah. All right. RedState.com. That's where you find it. Okay. 427-1 and then unanimous consent. So for the record, unanimously. Those are the margins the Epstein files bill had on Tuesday. So I guess there are so many more questions now at this point. This is a victory in the process.
Yes.
I would say for those who are actually interested in justice for the victims, and not only just that, but also the quest to try to fight back against this 2-tier, 3-tier, 4-tier justice system based on how elite you are powerfully and financially. I mean, because that's really a big part of what we're talking about. So we've got a demand for justice. We've got an unusual case of bipartisan morality, maybe. Or is this a matter of politicians just fear being on the wrong side of the campaign ads in 2026? Or doesn't matter. They voted.
Ding, ding.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that every Republican and every Democrat wants these files released. I'm just saying.
I think I'm going to go back to something we've talked about before. I think there are legitimate concerns about what information actually is released, not from I'm going to get in trouble standpoint, but from are people going to be because they've already said Donald Trump's name is in there.
Oh,
Of
sure.
course his name is
We
in
know
there
that,
because it's
yeah.
talked about. That doesn't mean he did anything nefarious. So there's going to be plenty of people's names in there. Are they all going to be smeared because of this, somehow being in that circle without having done anything wrong?
Right.
I think there are legitimate questions about that. And there's this sort of like over the top fervor for this now, kind of almost like a blind demand for information. And it isn't just about justice for the victims, but accountability for
Right.
people who did do wrong.
Right.
I don't know what that's going to look like. And it could be a complete, I mean, everything that has happened in relation to this has been a complete disaster from
Oh,
the
yeah.
get-go.
Yeah.
Not only did the horrible things happen, the initial prosecution didn't really get underway because they worked out that sort of sweetheart deal for Epstein. That created all kinds of issues. There's been smear campaigns back and forth all throughout this. You had the weird rollout with the binders. I mean,
the
there's
social media influencers. That was so incredibly stupid.
it was horrible. So I just don't have a lot of faith that it's not that I don't think we're going to get maybe some additional information. I just am not overly optimistic that people are going to handle it well.
Because this is one of those cases where as the demand is as much, okay, institution of government. Okay,
Mhm.
bigger picture here. You've given us so many reasons to not trust you over generations.
Mhm.
Here's a chance to rebuild. And my guess is that Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, most people are going to say, well, the institution is going to probably circle the wagons and protect itself. So are we actually going to get the truth that Congress just ordered the Department of Justice to provide? And so do we have faith that they're going to do what this law is going to tell them to do?
I think that you can go a step further and ask, do we have faith that that's what really they're asking them to do? I mean, I don't know. The whole thing's a mess. I do want to point out that it is fascinating to me that all it took was for Donald Trump to say, okay, go ahead and release it. And
Yep.
everyone was scrambling right and
Yep.
left to go, okay, he wields a lot of power.
More so than most presidents,
Mhm.
maybe all the presidents since FDR.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'll be real. I know I'm going to make somebody mad. I don't know that that's healthy. We have a separation of powers for a reason in the Constitution. I would like to see Republicans in Congress be a little more jealous and defensive of their power instead of waiting for orders. Because
Yeah.
the dynamics you just laid out, that's exactly what I saw too.
Yeah, and that is a legitimate concern. I think there's also the counterbalance to that is the amount of resistance and crap thrown in his path also almost makes it like, well, okay, you almost want to make the exception here because he's got such an uphill battle work with the opposition. Either way, I mean, I want each branch to be working within what their constitutional authorities are.
Right. Because remember, the Constitution set up the federal government, and between the federal and the states, we always forget that part of the checks and balances. They set it up for them to be in conflict.
Yes.
That was the point.
Yes.
And so, yes, there are times where we want common sense constitutional stuff to get done, and that should be no brainers. But remember, they wanted all these different parts to be
finding that
Yeah.
balance. If you need that healthy tension
Right.
without it being so overwhelming that it's just completely dysfunctional.
Yeah. Okay. So now I've got a message to both Republicans and a message for Democrats. On
Okay.
this. Okay. So Republicans, this is not all about Donald Trump. Okay.
No.
This isn't even necessarily about Donald Trump. Okay. That's because when I'm looking through, like, for instance, the soundbite service that we subscribe to, I was looking for sound bites from the Republican lawmakers, and every single one of them I saw this morning, which you'll notice is not in the news. Every single one was, well, this is going to show Donald Trump having to do it. It's the Democrats going after Trump. So Republicans, the Epstein case is not about Donald Trump.
No.
It is about the victims. It is about justice. It is about trying to hold those accountable in these elite positions.
True.
Yeah. Okay. That's my message to Republicans. My message to Democrats. This is not all about Donald Trump.
This is evergreen. You could say this every day. For the past 10 years, better or worse,
Yep.
it's been an adventure, but everything's all about Trump.
Yeah. This is about the victims.
It is.
This is about the quest for justice. This is about holding the chance to hold the elite politically and financially and powerfully connected into account. If both sides want to have this bizarre focus on Donald Trump, my worry is they're not going to pursue what actually needs to be pursued. This is not about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Even as both sides, I think, want to make it about it.
It's going to be really interesting in about 4 years.
Yep.
I think a lot of people are not going to know what the heck to talk about.
Yeah. Well, yeah, even 3 years.
I know.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Kind of
Well,
wild.
we're looking honestly at this point, a year from now, we're probably into the beginning of his lame duck phase.
I guess.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. Well, you know what? Something we are going to have to talk about when we come back is why the trial against Sheriff Alfred Montgomery was stopped before it could start. We'll get back to that right after this.
Making cold mind to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference.
You know, I know a lot of you haven't had breakfast, and that's fine. But some of you may be like me, already thinking about what you're going to be doing for lunch. If you are, I have a great suggestion for you. Located in the heart of West County for more than 20 years, it's Harpo's Chesterfield. It's close. It's convenient. It is the perfect neighborhood bar. It's got a great sports bar atmosphere. They've got great food and great drinks. I'm always raving about their burgers, but they've got all kinds of food for you to enjoy. They have daily food and drink specials, plus great happy hour specials. Today being Wednesday, their food special, I believe, is the 10-ounce strip steak with your choice of 2 sides for $15, which is kind of hard to beat. If you want to know for sure, you can always check them out at harposstl.com, or you can check out their Facebook or Instagram page for what events they've got coming up. Either way, you can just stop in and visit with their friendly, energetic staff. Harpo's delivers fun, food, and drinks like nobody else. And don't forget, check out their Facebook page and their Instagram if you want to know what their events are. Whether you're dining in or carrying out, make Harpo's Chesterfield your go-to.
Colombo and Company.
A federal court just blocked the new congressional map in Texas. Could it have any influence on that issue here? We'll discuss Wednesday with Mo political insider Rodney Boyd, plus Danny Define and Closest Cabinet.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on NewsTalkSTL.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good, casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need, understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Remember those magical moments in Mom's Kitchen? The heavenly aroma of fresh baked cookies? At Trolley Stop Bakery in Chesterfield's Forum Shopping Center, our co-op of talented bakers has been perfecting that homemade magic for 4 decades. From the gooeyest cookies in town to custom pies, cobblers, and cakes, everything's made from scratch, just like Mom and Grandma's recipes. Need that perfect corporate gift? We ship our famous cookies nationwide. The Trolley Stop Bakery, 67 Forum Shopping Center, or TrolleyStopBakery.com. Because some traditions are too sweet not to share.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new NewsTalk STL app.
Love the all-new app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Hey guys, this is Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Make sure to listen to us this and every Sunday at high noon. Now, back to Mike Loaded Dice Ferguson.
All right. Okay, so basically it was like, sorry, Judge, he's not here. He's still in jail. That's what happened yesterday in
That's a problem.
in the latest chapter of the Loaded Dice drama. Okay, I want to get to that in just a second because David Amilati did kind of a good explainer of what actually happened, and then obviously going to lean on your legal expertise here, Susie, as well. Do you use DoorDash by any chance?
No, I don't.
You don't? I mean, I have used it. I use Grubhub more than I use DoorDash. You use DoorDash at all, Jerome?
I stopped.
Okay,
I cannot
but you have
justify
used it.
I have used it way too much. Yes.
Okay, so DoorDash confirmed that there was a data breach.
Oh.
Yep, that exposed personal information of both the drivers, what they call them dashers, and users. Excuse me. Company said the issue was traced to an employee who fell victim to a scam. So somehow the employee did some kind of scam. They got into their phone and then they got into whatever internal connection that they had there. So the data accessed in the scam included full names, phone numbers, email addresses, and actual physical house addresses as well. The company says that social security numbers, ID numbers, driver's license information, financial information was not affected by this.
You know, there used to be these things called the phone book.
Yes.
That had your full name, your phone number,
Yeah.
and your address in them.
Yeah.
And we just picked them up and looked people up
Yep.
and didn't think anything of it.
Yep.
So now sometimes when this kind of thing happens, everyone freaks out. And I'm like,
You can
okay.
actually look that up. Now the phone book is still online. You
Yeah.
can look it up.
So, I mean, it does. It obviously, any kind of data breach, privacy
Right.
breach is a thing. But it's just it's kind of funny to me that we
Yeah.
used to not think of that in those
Right.
terms.
Yeah. I mean, and you had to specially request your name and number to not be in the phone book.
Yes.
And then almost nobody did it.
Right.
But you could look up, Ferguson, Michael, and then there'd be however many Michael Fergusons there were, but you could find that with the phone number and the actual street address right there. And they would put this book on your
That was the white
doorstep.
pages.
Yeah, the white pages. They would put this book on your doorstep, whether you wanted it or not, once
Every
a year.
year.
Wow. See, I think the part of the frustrating thing with these sorts of things, though, is that it's a little bit more specialized because, like you mentioned, there might be several people with your same name.
Right.
When it comes to your digital footprint, your digital ID,
Correct.
though, it's
right.
It's
This is associating you with that service.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of, and then the other part of it is no matter how strong your password is, what are called phishing attempts are still the number one ways. We think of like the Hacker Man of the 80s movies on all these different keyboards. It's really just getting somebody to give over information they shouldn't have given over.
Exactly.
I'm looking. Actually, I don't think I have DoorDashes.
You ever had a DoorDash delivered to you that wasn't yours?
I have not. I've had my orders end up somewhere else, but I've never had somebody show up. No, I don't have DoorDash. it turns out.
I actually received somebody else's DoorDash. It was left when I was asleep, so I woke up to it on my thing, and then I went around and I asked my neighbors. I'm like, "Is this? This was just sitting here.
Right.
Is this yours?" No, it's not ours. It's not ours. So I got excited. I'm like, "Well, I can't do anything else. It's mine now." The DoorDash person forgot a few items, and I actually had that internalized. Do I call and complain and see if they give me the items anyways? Or
Wow.
When I'm hungry.
I've seen it sitting out on someone else's stoop for like hours and been like, dude, did you forget you ordered?
Yeah. And in that case, Jerome, I don't think you did anything wrong by eating it.
No.
Because, it was
going to go to waste otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, and so there's nothing you could do. You tried to find the rightful owner. And so at that point, you know what? You can either throw it in the trash because it's your door or you can eat it because it's there.
It was items I would have ordered anyways.
There you go.
But yeah, no, I did not call and complain. But if you're going to mess up somebody else's order, leave all the items at the wrong door. Okay.
Come on, get with it, guys.
All right. Okay. So just heads up, if you're a DoorDash user, they say that if your information was compromised, you're going to get some kind of note either through the app or on email or something like that. And then you can deal with that accordingly. All right. Loaded dice trial. Take two.
Okay.
They're going to try that today.
Second time's a charm.
So here's what happened yesterday. KMOV's David Amilati was at the courthouse. He was there, but Alfred Montgomery was not. Here's what happened.
Trial was supposed to get underway at 9:30 Tuesday morning, but there was just one problem. Sheriff Alfred Montgomery was not in the courtroom. He is still in the custody of the federal government. And Judge Steve Omer says he just doesn't see a way to give him fair due process if he's not in the room for his trial. We caught up with David Mason, Montgomery's attorney, minutes after court let out. Why was the sheriff not in court today?
Sometimes the operations of court can go a little slower. The judge has priorities other than this trial. This is a civil matter. It's a state civil matter. The judge has obviously his own docket of matters to deal with.
We know a motion was filed last week to make sure Alfred Montgomery was in court. The defense filed that on Thursday, but the federal judge didn't act on it.
Okay, so that's what happened.
I was going to ask about that because when
Yeah.
I was looking the case up last week, I noticed that motion was on file. So basically, it's just the wheels of justice were moving a little bit slower on the federal side, and everything didn't just get connected. I know Judge Mason, so I love hearing him talk. It's just so funny because I can picture him.
Yeah, he's just kind of sitting there, and you know that he wants to just shrug and go, "It is what it is," but he's not doing that. But that's the body language that he's using there. But yeah, so they filed it, and David follow up saying, "Well, did you not file it in time?" And Mason's giving a very diplomatic answer.
Well, because he doesn't want to piss off the judge.
Right. And
number one rule of litigation,
Yeah.
don't piss off the judge. And he is a judge, so he knows better than anybody.
Right. He's a retired judge. And he said, well, when I was a judge, I know that sometimes a phone call from my chambers could expedite things. But he also pointed out, this is the state matter. He's being held on a federal matter.
Correct.
So they don't necessarily answer to the state court.
No. I mean, I'm sure they will try to accommodate and everything. But yeah, this is, it's just an administrative snafu.
Yeah. I mean, they could have gone ahead and said, well, we're hearing the evidence about him, but I think the judge probably was doing the right thing by going, it's not right to have this without the
that would have
actual
created its own issues.
Wouldn't be a defendant. This would be a respondent in this case, I would think.
Correct.
And so in this case, it's like, let's just hold off. We're going to do it again tomorrow. So that also means that some other things that were on the docket for today got bumped.
These things happen.
Right.
Court cases get bumped all the time.
Yeah. And so now we're in a situation where a little more drama, a little more spice, but would we have it any other way with Alfred Montgomery? I mean, there's got to be something silly that
Gotta
happens.
have the spice for loaded dice.
And so again, this could be a situation where they just do the whole thing, and then the judge will say, "I'll give you a ruling when I get a ruling." From what I'm being told out of Jeff City and with folks around here, and tell me what you think, is that this is unlikely to be a multi-day thing. They're going to have it all in one day, probably over the course of a couple hours, and that will decide the employment fate of Alfred Montgomery.
Correct. Yeah, whether he retains his elected position. I guess it's Judge Omer that's hearing it.
Yes.
Sounds like. And he could roll from the bench. I mean, obviously he knows this is coming. He's kind of going to be prepared for it. But I won't be shocked if he takes it under advisement.
Yeah,
I mean, we hear like at the end of the week or early next week.
I mean, I would guess the judges are reading up on all the information and the evidence. All that has to be submitted beforehand anyway. But they're not supposed to come
in
up
the ideal world.
Yeah, but they're not supposed to. I mean, you would also say they're not supposed to make up their mind until they hear the arguments over it.
No,
human nature would make it difficult. That's one of the aspects of the job of a judge is, okay, well, you know all the information, but hear them out first. Even if things are overwhelming, they're supposed to go, well, let's hear them out first.
Just like all those federal judges are doing.
Right.
Wait
Yeah.
a second.
Yeah. So it's not supposed to be a foregone conclusion.
It's not. It just sometimes is.
You just
when the Trump administration is involved, it's like
a foregone conclusion.
Prefabbed.
Right. So we'll see. So in theory, the sheriff will be in court today. Do they negotiate out what he's going to wear? I mean, they're not going to make him walk in handcuffs and a jumpsuit.
I'm sure that they have had some discussions about that.
I mean, because they could do that. I mean, which would be a terrible look for him.
Yeah. And this doesn't strike me as the type of situation where that's really as big a deal as it might be in others.
Right.
I'm sure that they've negotiated that out ahead of time.
Do you think the sheriff will put on his dress blues and have all the medals and the patches and everything? Because he really likes that stuff.
He probably will.
Yeah.
I don't know. All I know is I'm going to be at a function Friday night with a bunch of these people.
Oh,
and
no
I'm going to
kidding.
be anxious to see what the buzz is.
Oh yeah, I imagine so. And then at that point, it's just all in the courts, the judge's timing. He can announce a ruling whenever he feels like, and
Correct.
he could do it today.
He could do it from the bench. I
Yeah.
just think that he might take it under advisement so that
Right.
he can actually issue
write it out and
opinion.
all that sort, because it is kind of a big deal. You're talking about kicking an
Mhm.
elected official out of office.
Right. That's why I think he may wait just
Yeah.
because it's a serious It's a serious deal.
As much fun as we're having with all the nonsense of this, it really is a serious deal. And of course, the sheriff's office is going to keep going because the interim has already been appointed.
Correct.
And so it's just going to keep moving. It's just a matter of you stop paying Alfred Montgomery for his he just goes off the payroll.
Right. I mean, sometimes the people that you vote for end up getting removed from office. That's
right.
the way it happens.
You
We've
think
seen it happen before.
You think he qualifies for Cobra coverage because he's going to lose his job?
I have no idea.
This is how my brain works.
What is Cobra coverage?
Okay. So here's there's a law called Cobra. And what happens is if you leave a job for any reason whatsoever, you're supposed to be able to continue to buy your health insurance coverage, but at the full price. So like if your employer covers 25 or 50% or pays it all, they don't have to pay any of that, but you could pay the company to keep your group health insurance.
Right.
Oh.
I don't know if Obamacare replaced all that, but I think it's still in place. It's still a thing out there. So
it is.
Here we go.
Yeah, and depending on how things go, maybe he'll be one of the people that needs some help with our food drive that we're running.
Could be.
We are partnered with the St. Louis County GOP to help feed my people. So we're doing a food drive. You can go to newstalkstl.com/food drive so you can get all of that information of all of the amazing locations that are partnering with us, or come on by and stop by. We have a nice little bin that's clearly marked and identified, so you can come and drop off your non-perishables. Please, no milk, no eggs, nothing of that nature. No loose items like that. But come on out and help your community.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. Going to see some patchy fog this morning as temperatures a little bit colder back towards the upper 40s, but we're going to continue to warm back up close to the 60-degree mark this afternoon. Looking at mostly cloudy skies and some chances of showers and thunderstorms begin into Thursday. That'll last into Friday evening before clearing for a drier weekend ahead as temperatures are back towards the lower 60s as we look off throughout the second half of the week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
Your business moves fast. PRI Global keeps it moving smarter for almost 30 years, delivering top tech talent to help companies grow stronger, custom applications, simplifying your operations, securing your data, modernizing your business from the cloud up. And with Prismatic, you're going to get real-time insights, automated workflows, people, process, platform. PRI Global delivers all three. PRIGlobal.com.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit VincentsJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
Two pitchers for the MLB Cleveland Guardians are accused of taking bribes to rig pitches. Allegedly, they won hundreds of thousands of dollars. They say, no way. One of them say, I have a $700,000 contract. Gamblers are strange and make some strange prop bets on anything. Give you an instance. A fly lands on a table, and suddenly you got 5 guys betting $100 each as to which way the fly is going to take off. Silly, you say? Yeah. But, of course, if you get the fly early, and you clip a section of the fly's wing, it might change the liftoff. These MLB players were sometimes making prop bets on how many pitches would be above 80, how many pitches would be in the dirt. Pete Rose is the major name in baseball tied to betting, but no proof he ever bet against his own team. Yet for all of that, he got banned in 1989, and Hustle was up for the Hall of Fame. Charlie Hustle was not going to get in until recently. This last September, they said, yeah, he can come in. Well, he died at age 83. Will Rose still get in? What are the odds? And if he does get into the Hall of Fame, what are the odds Charlie Hustle will come out of the grave? Oh, you think that's slim to none? There's someone waiting to take that bet.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here from my great friends at Comprehensive Chiropractic, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. How do I know? Simply put, they've helped me on many occasions. Here's another solution to your everyday aches and pains. The Studio Health and Wellness Center Services include Pilates and yoga, both with certified instructors. I can also highly recommend the massage therapy, which is not an indulgence. It's a proven method of healing and restoration. Trust my friends at Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
It is an honor and a privilege to have U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt.
Hey, I have to tell you, I don't know if I've ever told you this. In the 90s, what would this have been? Mid-90s. And I was I worked at Grant's Farm and I had a couple other jobs. In the afternoon, I would often hear and listen to Porcelli's Deli on the radio.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making me feel older than I already feel. That's just great.
Vic Porcelli.
Live and local weekday mornings at 9
on News Talk STL. Located in the heart of St. Charles, Kevin's Guns is your family-owned destination for all things firearms. Whether you're a collector, hunter, or military enthusiast, we have it or can get it for you. From new to used rifles and handguns in every style and caliber, our friendly and knowledgeable staff is here to help educate you and ensure you make the perfect choice for your needs. Buy, sell, or browse our incredible selection at kevinsguns.net or call 636-493-1195. Kevin's Guns, where gun enthusiasts come home.
News, analysis, opinion.
Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries have given in to the far-left progressive base.
Has Mamdani won the soul of the Democrat Party?
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
No buffalo bison is safe if Mike Ferguson is around. Mike Ferguson Show in the morning. Larry Connors USA at 6.
I mean, it is tasty.
I don't know if I've ever actually had it.
Go to Nutrition Stop and get the bison.
I don't know if I want to actually have it.
So
blasphemy.
So tasty.
I
So
should
tasty.
want it. I'm really hungry right
That's
now.
right. All right. Okay. Not so fast on that whole redistricting thing. One of the Republicans' biggest chances to pick up seats gets a setback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The whole country's talking about this. And
Yep.
you can, of course, see a comprehensive article on this at RedState.com, written by Teri Christoph, who joins us right now. So, Teri, we've got the domino effect of the redistricting battle. Texas, California, Missouri, Illinois, possibly Indiana now. I mean, you've got all these different states that are talking about redistricting in order to change the numbers in Washington, D.C. But with Texas, this would be a significant pickup for the Republicans. Okay, so why is that in question right now? Where do things stand?
Well, good morning. Yesterday afternoon, we learned that a 3-judge panel, a federal court in Texas, threw out the redistricting that the GOP-led effort there in Texas. They had redrawn the districts to reflect more voter registration trends and the conservative nature of the state. And this 3-judge panel said, no, that's racial gerrymandering, and threw out the Republicans' plan. And this was really the centerpiece of President Trump's effort ahead of the midterms to kind of shore up some seats for the Republicans, who have a very, very narrow majority in the House of Representatives. So this was the centerpiece. They were going to get up to 5 seats for Republicans, and that just got put on the trash heap. And you went through the list like there is a domino effect. There's a lot of states that are looking at redistricting. Some of them have them in place, some of them don't. But it seems to be that there's a trend that it's the Republican redistricting efforts that are getting, squashed in the court, and not really the left-leaning efforts. So you got to wonder what's going on here.
It is interesting, Terry.
Just coincidence, I'm sure.
Coincidentally, as you noted, a similar situation happened in Utah recently, where a judge threw out a redraw that would have been favorable to the Republicans. In California, where Prop 50 just passed, of course, there is a legal challenge that's been mounted by the GOP in California against that measure. We haven't seen any rulings on that yet, but I'm starting to wonder if we might not see a ruling there that says, no, that's perfectly fine.
No, I wouldn't imagine that you're going to see any ruling that goes against the Democrats. It's certainly, if the past is prologue, it is certainly going to be the Republicans' efforts. Obviously, because Trump's leading it, that's going to be, bad guy right there. But no, I don't expect any, like right here in Virginia, they're looking to basically redistrict the Republicans from holding any seat, maybe one of the 11. And I don't anticipate that that's going to have any issues. That's just going to float right along. And, we're going to have some serious consequences to that. But it is outrageous. I think we at Red State need to look into what's going on here, and particularly who is bringing these lawsuits, because these are very far left progressive organizations that are having an amazing amount of success in the courts right now.
Yeah, like League of Women Voters is a prominent
Yeah.
player in that. I know that.
Yeah. Now let me go back to the case in Texas. You just said this was a the 2-1 ruling, I think it was, in the federal court there.
Correct.
And so while Republicans obviously are rooting for the win for the extra numbers and looking at the concerns and the extra numbers of other states, what about the merits of the case itself? Was this basically a partisan ruling? Or when you look at what was ruled, do you say, well, that sucks, but it makes sense? Or is this just partisanship does partisanship things?
Well, it looks to me like the argument from the right is that they used voter registration data. Obviously, they were going to be kind to conservatives. That's what happens. But they weren't basing it off of anything other than the voter registration data. What the plaintiffs were arguing was that it was all based off of a racial gerrymander. So I think that the basic crux of the argument is going to be, was it voter registration, or was it done to make sure that certain ethnic groups didn't have representation? And I don't think that that's the case. I think the Republicans, the right, seem to have a stronger argument in that they were using their voter registration data for the state to draw these districts. And what the judges ruled, and it was an interesting panel, it was one Obama, one Trump, and one Reagan appointee, and the Obama and the Trump ruled against the Republicans on this one.
Oh, that's interesting.
And what they said is you have to use the maps that you used in 2021. So they're reverting back to an old one. I guess the question is, midterms are, still a year away, but how long can these things get tied up in the courts? That would be my question.
Yeah, Teri, as part of your article, I know you were touching on this, that the next move for the state of Texas in relation to this ruling is what?
Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, Greg Abbott, who was obviously the defendant in this case, it was brought against him. His office released a statement yesterday saying that they were going to swiftly appeal to the United States Supreme Court. And his argument was that the maps aren't discriminatory, that they used this data that they had, and that it was to reflect the conservative nature, which, makes sense to me, but Supreme Court. Now, you're more of the legal eagle than I am, Susie. So I don't know how quickly does the Supreme Court move on something like this? Can this get tied up? Can all of these cases, because it's not just going to be Texas, it's going to be every conservative leaning state is probably going to be dealing with this. How long can it get tied up? Because the midterms, like I said, are a year away, but there's some real consequences because it's a narrow majority right now in the House of Representatives. So how long is this going to get tied up in the court?
And I don't know the answer to that because I haven't seen what they're filing with the Supreme Court yet. I don't know if they're going to do an application for stay, which would be kind of an emergency type basis, or if they're going to do a more like formal appeal. The Supreme Court's already looking at this issue with the Louisiana case, a related issue, I should say. So there's a lot of up in the air. This could very well be tied up.
Well, and what's interesting is when you look back to whether it's the Voting Rights Act or some of the subsequent rulings. Teri, I'm going to point to like part of our listening area right here in the city of St. Louis. Essentially, that district number 1 is carved overtly, specifically, so a black Democrat will win. And that's not the conservative guy, casting aspersions. That's literally the reason that it's drawn the way that it's drawn. And that is part of the representation argument in there. So when you're looking at making sure something's blue, there are laws and rulings people point to. So what's the difference if it's flipping something red?
That is going to probably be the big question over the next 12 months as this gets played out in the courts. And that's basically what happened in Utah. They carved out a little area for Democrats in Utah last week. And I don't know what the state of that one is, whether that's being appealed, but it's the same thing. Like it was the League of Women Voters and they wanted a Democrat leaning district. And the judges said, yeah, sure, take it. It's yours. kind of overriding Utah's right to, in their legislative, they lean Republican, and overriding their right to draw these boundaries. So it is very inconsistent here on what these rulings are.
Sure seems like it. And I know there's the tension between what is political gerrymandering versus what is racial gerrymandering. Where's the overlap? Where is it okay? Where is it not? Terry, you mentioned this earlier, and I kind of want to go back to this too, because Virginia was so much in the spotlight for the 2025 elections. And now the Virginia legislature is basically just going to go great guns and run roughshod over the Republicans in the state, aren't they?
It's already happening. They're already introducing it. What's going to happen is we're going to have it's not a super majority, but it's a sizable majority here for the Democrats. They're going to have all the three governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and then they have both houses of our state legislature. And they're already introducing bills to be argued and when the legislature meets again, which is in early 2026. And it's just a smorgasbord of leftist awfulness. And it's gun rights are going to be eroded, right to work is going away, and this redistricting is going to be a nightmare because right now we have 11 districts and it's 6 Democrats, the congressional districts, to be clear, these are the congressional districts, 6 Democrats, 5 Republicans, and they have a 10-1 plan where they are going to make sure that Republicans aren't competitive in 10 out of the 11. So we got some problems headed our way here in Virginia, and it's going to be pretty ugly.
So you look at a pickup of 4 Democrats right there, which would almost completely negate where we started with the 5 pickups of Republicans in Texas, and then California with whatever pickups they're going to try to do. They talked about this in Illinois, but the paperwork is the deadline's already passed for the primaries because Illinois' primaries are actually in March. So I don't think they can pull that off there, but other states, they can. I know it's almost like we should just draw the districts based on population and population alone. I know that's a weird thing to say, but it, yeah, but this is the state this is the state of where we're at right now, Teri.
It is. And I did want to mention really quickly what's going on in Indiana, because that one was supposed to be a slam dunk for Republicans because obviously Republicans have quite sizable majorities there also. And that is, I don't know if people are up to date on that one, but they have said that they're going to meet for a special session of the state legislature starting on December 1st. Where they were going to be working on their redistricting plan. And all of a sudden last week, they said, no, we don't have the votes to pass anything. So we're just not going to do it. So that's another fight that's going to be fun to watch because Trump has really come out like, primary all of them. These people all have to go. So there's a fight there to be had. So I don't think we're going to have many answers soon on these redistricting questions. And it's going to probably be played out for a while, which is an uncomfortable place to be. All right.
RedState.com is where you're going to see the article. It's called, Of Course They Did. A federal court just annihilated the GOP's Texas redistricting plan. And it was written by Teri Christoph. Thanks, Teri.
Thanks, Teri.
Thank you.
Hey, you guys, Thanksgiving is just a week away.
A week from tomorrow. Yeah.
Are you ready? And we're not talking about the food preparation. We're talking about helping you prepare for the dinner table conversations, which ones to avoid. We'll have that coming up next.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
His weight is listed 215. He looks good, and he looks hard.
On News Talk STL.
When water troubles strike, call the family you can trust. Tim Jones here for Ambassador Plumbing, serving our community since 2018 with 25 years of master plumbing expertise from Tim Morris and his handpicked team. Whether it's a simple faucet repair or a complete bathroom remodel, if water runs to it or through it, they do it. From residential service calls to commercial to new construction, the folks at Ambassador are your neighbors treating you like family. Ambassador Plumbing, where faith meets craftsmanship. 636-383-6932 or ambassadorplumbing.com. That's ambassadorplumbing.com.
Chris Arps here, and after Becky and I leave church on Sunday, we head down the street to Capriotti's to grab a classic meatball sub. And of course, for dessert, I get a giant chocolate chip cookie. I love Capriotti's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. These pills work for men and women to improve their sexual performance. And now for the price of 2 or 3 pills, you can get nearly 100. There's no need to pay expensive prices for Viagra or Cialis. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Change your life for the better and have fun. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. That's 800-631-2030.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy, Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, this is just the day we now live in. We generally have to think about what not to talk about sometimes.
Yes.
You got any of those circles like in your real lives where you're like, okay, everybody knows, don't bring up that because I don't want to deal with it. Like, for instance,
all my circles.
For instance, the baseball guys in my old man baseball, my go-to line is, I'm off duty, guys. I'm off duty.
Yeah.
Now, I would say probably the majority of the guys out there lean conservative, if not very conservative. We got a number of Democrats and some left-wingers in there, and I get along with them just fine. But for the most part, I'm like, they want to bring something up. I'm like, I'm off duty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I let's talk about baseball. You know, hey, Cardinals are going to suck again this year, aren't they? You know, I mean, and so that's an area. So with Thanksgiving coming up, there's always the jokes about, you know, why would you want at this day and age to bring up things like politics when you are literally equipping everybody with a knife at their seating station?
That's, I guess, a fair question. I would say my family isn't prone to violence, so I don't really think of it in those terms. But I kind of make a point not to bring up. I mean, you know, I can talk about work in general.
Yeah.
You know, they are,
Right,
like,
yeah.
you know, but I avoid political topics with my family in that setting just because I would like to enjoy my family and not have us get cross with one another.
See, I think maybe my family just is the opposite of everybody else's family from my hearing, because it seems like for us, Thanksgiving is where you get all of your beefs out. So that way, all the other holidays, you guys can be pleasant with each other.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Because it's one thing, because you get all mad, you get all worked up, you have your disagreements, you eat a bunch of turkey, you're all in a food coma, and then Christmas comes along, and then you're like, hey, Merry Christmas.
Turkey's the great healing.
And then, you know, New Year's comes along, and then you have to leave all of your ill will in the past because it's
Right.
New Year, fresh
start.
So.
Okay, so and this is one of the radio trade things that they had a list of basically 10 things that you should think twice before you bring up at the Thanksgiving.
It's legit.
Yeah,
Let's see.
Thanksgiving one.
What are they?
Number one, obviously, politics.
Politics.
You know, especially right now. But you can bank on that one basically being the number one topic to not bring up. Okay, do you want me to go down the list or up the list starting from 10 at this point?
Start at 10.
Okay. Other family members gossiping about people who aren't there.
Yeah.
No, that's 100% acceptable.
I feel like it's kind of inevitable. But yeah, you got to be a little careful about that.
So the way we do it is inevitably whoever's not there, we start, and then eventually gets to a point where we call them up and say, hey, so I heard from the grapevine. We just wanted to get the facts on this. So it makes it an excuse to actually call them and include them in what's going on.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah. Hey, Uncle Will, are you off probation yet?
We were having an argument about it. Can you just
yeah.
settle a score?
Yeah.
Settle it for
And
us?
then you gossip with them about the other people that on that
Right.
call,
True.
right? Yeah.
It's the American way. Okay. Number 9 was current relationship status. Like basically like, come on, when are you going to get married? You dating anybody yet? You know, that sort of thing.
If the person isn't there with you, like maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's always fun.
Yeah. See, Jerome, you're the only unattached person in the room here.
Yep.
So do you hate it when, if and when that comes up?
So and again, my family, it seems to be a lot of attached, unattached, attached people. So I think the expectation sort of like, I won't bring up your divorce if you don't bring up the fact that I don't have a girlfriend with me.
Right. Mutually assured destruction.
Yes.
That's cool.
Okay. Now this one's interesting. Personal struggles.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's that fine line between wanting someone to know that you're there for them and
Yep.
supporting them and wanting them to just open it up and let it all fly.
So the line here was keep it light. Don't bring up anything negative at Thanksgiving. I mean, I'm sure there's an exception somewhere where some, but that's one of the things they're talking about for Thanksgiving. So you're dealing with whatever you're dealing with your personal life or mental health thing or whatever the case is.
Depends on how much eggnog is involved.
There you
That's fair too.
Yep. Number 7, work or career issues. If you know things are not going well, don't bring it up. So basically the way I'm reading that is congratulations on the promotion, good, or hey, is your boss still harassing you?
Right.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think the general idea there is just to kind of steer clear of sore subjects so that you aren't going to, provoke a meltdown.
If you are the one to bring it up about your own work, I think that's okay. But
Yeah.
go with some. By the way, did you still have that write up on your record? Is that I don't think that's appropriate. No.
Okay, so number 6 kind of goes with number 8. It says don't bring up mental health. It's just a bit heavy for dinner chit chat.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. My family, that's just not, we just don't talk in those terms other than someone may say, I was like, that totally gave me anxiety. But there's not we don't have conversations or in-depth conversations about mental health. Maybe we should. I don't know.
You see, and most of these things, this is just not what happens with my family for the most part. But what about this? Somebody's ex.
Oh, yeah. That's fair game.
See, this says it's not supposed to be.
Oh, yeah.
Susie's
No.
like, don't care.
No, but usually it's like, making fun of the fact that my mom put an X over them on a picture or, it's like, it's lighthearted still. But yeah, I think maybe it depends on the circumstance. If this is a fresh breakup, yeah, you tread carefully. If you're talking about that, gross goober someone brought 20 years ago to Thanksgiving, it's all fun and games.
X's are off limits.
Off limits?
No,
Okay.
If they're not there, they're not there for a reason.
Okay. Now, I would assume this would be for households that have a variety of different beliefs,
Mhm.
religion.
Oh, yeah. It's not really, it's not really an issue in my house. We do
Mhm.
we have some, yeah, I don't know. It's not really an issue.
The only 2 exceptions I've had personal experience, not my family, but at other people's Thanksgivings, is if somebody recently converted and they really want to tell everybody about how they converted, or if somebody discovered, usually high school age person, about atheism, about how all religions are wrong and they're all stupid. It's like, okay, both of you guys go sit in the corner over there and talk to each other. The rest of us,
We're not here to evangelize today.
Yeah. Hence, that's why it's number 4 on the list.
Okay,
Exactly
I
what
get
you
it.
just described. See, I grew up in both sides of my mom's and my dad's all had the same religious tradition. So it was not an issue.
Right.
But that's not normal.
No, that's not, no.
That's not really normal. So it's not uncommon. It's just not, I think, the standard thing. So I think that's probably a pretty safe one. Just don't bring it up if people get really sensitive about it or very defensive.
Sure.
And there are a few things people take as personally as
Right.
religion and faith.
It's true.
Appearance or weight.
Oh gosh.
Okay, I disagree with this. I was in much better shape at one point in my life, and if people had just said, "Hey, you're getting a little fat there," boom. Now I know. Get back on track.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. So maybe you shouldn't have that third helping.
Well, not a thing. You don't tell me that day not to eat. You say just make it your New Year's resolution.
Right.
And then number 2, the other one is asking people about their personal money and their finances.
It's just always an awkward conversation no matter what.
Exactly.
With all of the celebrations, anniversaries, and holidays coming up over the next few months, where are you going to go to get that special something for the special people in your life? Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, of course. Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, found 24/7 at wowdiamonds.com. Tim Jones here to tell you all about Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. Richard Newsteader and his team serving our region since 1961 with awesome, honest jewelry solutions. They've got everything from diamonds to wedding engagement rings, hand-engraved items, pendants, earrings, and so much more. You can find them 24/7, wowdiamonds.com. That's Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, wowdiamonds.com.
NewsTalkSTL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 2 times every weekend on NewsTalkSTL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-6766. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you are ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with this free call. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
This hour from Town Hall, I'm Rich Thomason. The Trump administration's pursuit of criminal illegal aliens in America's cities rolls on and may be headed next to the Gulf Coast.
Sources tell AP 250 federal border agents are set to descend on New Orleans in the coming weeks for a 2-month immigration crackdown. Dubbed Swamp Sweep, the operation aims to arrest some 5,000 people across southeast Louisiana and Mississippi. The plan includes agents fanning out across neighborhoods and commercial hubs, with staging sites planned at the FBI field office and a nearby naval base. The deployment's expected to begin in earnest on December 1st. It's the latest in a series of rapid-fire immigration crackdowns unfolding nationwide. I'm Ben Thomas.
Although he calls the Jeffrey Epstein matter a Democrat hoax, President Trump says he will sign a bill ordering the Department of Justice to release all files on the late convicted sex offender. President says he's been interviewing some very good people for the top job at the Federal Reserve.
The president has made no secret that he'll be replacing Fed Chair Jerome Powell next year, and he says he's already reviewing a list of candidates.
We have some surprising names, and we have some standard names that everybody's talking about.
The president said his first choice for the Fed was Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, but he declined the job. Greg Clugston, the White House.
What was once considered a near certain cut in interest rates next month now looks more like a coin toss. Federal Reserve officials sharply disagree over the economy's health and whether stubborn inflation or weak hiring represents a bigger threat. Target's third quarter profits tumbled, raising fresh questions about how the struggling retailer will fare over the upcoming holiday shopping season. On Wall Street, Dow futures are up 86 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. I've always been a strong believer in precious metals investment, and I've always been fascinated with rare coin collecting. But owning the wrong coins that only make dealers a lot of money can be catastrophic for your investment portfolio. AmFed Coin and Bullion specializes in taking people out of non-performing coin portfolios and turning them into gold, silver, or platinum bullion. They tailor a portfolio based on your goals and not what they want to sell you. You'll never experience scare tactics, misleading hype, or high-pressure sales from owner Nick Grovich and his very knowledgeable staff. They will evaluate your portfolio, show you how your coins have performed, and take the time to educate you on the ugly industry practices so that you can make an informed decision. Smart people can make very bad investments when they're under pressure and lack the facts. Call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. Going to see some patchy fog this morning as temperatures a little bit colder back towards the upper 40s, but we're going to continue to warm back up close to the 60-degree mark this afternoon. Looking at mostly cloudy skies and some chances of showers and thunderstorms begin into Thursday. That'll last into Friday evening before clearing for a drier weekend ahead as temperatures are back towards the lower 60s as we look off throughout the second half of the week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
Mike Ferguson.
Big guy, one of the biggest in the world.
Susie Moore.
You think he's ready?
He's not ready.
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
I have a feeling that by the end of this evening, I'm going to be playing for everything.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, the word of the day. Word of the day. Affordability.
That's a good word.
That's the word of the day here. The left has a pretty short memory when it comes to a key aspect of affordability right now.
Oh,
yeah, because obviously they're arguing and talking a lot about healthcare and affordability, and if we don't completely stay in the socialist system and we do any reforms, people are going to die.
Yeah, we need to take more money from you so we can subsidize the cost of other people while you pay more on all fronts.
But here's the thing is what was hurting people when it comes to affordability not all that long ago. You remember when it was, $4 a gallon for gas? We've seen energy utility prices go up. What about that aspect of affordability? Mm-hmm. We're now joined by Larry Behrens from Power the Future. Larry, good chat with you again. So affordability, and you just wrote about this at townhall.com. And I want to get your thoughts. People can find the article on that right now. We've got kind of a selective memory on the left right now when it comes to affordability. Now, I think it's fair to be talking about all of it, but we like to pick and choose.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Mike, thanks for having me. You're absolutely right. And I would argue, too, it could be selective memory, or it could just be they think the American people are stupid, that they don't remember 2+ years ago when we were paying, I think the national average actually reached above $5 a gallon for gasoline, and they see that they didn't care about affordability then. We dealt with 9% inflation. They didn't care about affordability then. Then all of a sudden they want to just say, oh, well, affordability is really important to us. That's like, the arsonist who's burned down the town saying, well, fire safety is really important to me. No, we remember exactly what they did. And so they have no credibility, if they ever did. They have no credibility on this issue of affordability because they drove up prices in every way, shape, and form.
And some of these prices obviously are back down. I mean, some of the immediate executive actions that the Biden administration did reversed by the Trump administration, but there are other market factors in play right now. I mean, I saw gas at, what was it? I think $2.59, here by the radio station not that long ago. So things have come way down, but it's a matter of keeping some things as affordable as they are, but still addressing other things. Utility costs are still going up all over the place. What are things that can still be done to try to arrest that growth in cost or bring them down?
Yeah, you're right. It is a complex picture, but supply has something to do with it. We're producing more oil than we ever have in the history of the country. So that's something that's going to help. But to your point, utility bills, electric bills are going up through the roof in my part of Missouri, your part of Missouri, I'm sure as well. And that's because a whole lot of utilities brought into the Green New Deal and said, oh, yeah, we trust that solar panels and windmills are going to be cheaper. Well, look at your bill. Are they cheaper? after 4 years of this detour of the Green New Steel, are they cheaper? The answer is absolutely no. And it even gets a little more complex than that. I would argue too, as we look around, because affordability shouldn't matter depending on who's in office, right? The Democrats are trying to make a big deal of it now because they think they can hang it as a political anchor on President Trump. They didn't care about it under Joe Biden, but we should care about it all the time. And if you look at, $2.54 per gallon is a great price. Someone in Los Angeles would really, really love to pay that price. In fact, everybody in Los Angeles really, really would. And so we also have to look at state laws, state issues, because there are some blue states. I think 9 out of the top 10 highest gas prices in the country are in blue states. And so that all goes into play when, cost goes into it. But in order to drive down cost, we're going to have to increase supply. It's a little bit easier for oil because that infrastructure can move around quicker. The harder part is electricity. We're going to need more supply for electricity before we see those utility bills go down.
Yeah, and I want to back out just a little bigger picture on this, Larry, is that this isn't in a silo. I mean, you can talk about the wonkiness and the sources of energy and the rates and all that kind of stuff, but we're talking about this is something we have to pay. The more this goes up, the more it affects our ability to do other things in the economy or do other things for ourselves or our families, even needed things. So this isn't in a silo here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Mike, and it's a great point. It has a ripple effect. And so, something interesting that we were talking about, the American Farm Bureau Federation, they put out an annual report of what the Thanksgiving dinner costs. They just put it out this morning. And Thanksgiving dinner for Americans is going to cost 5% less this year than it did last year. I like 5% savings. That's nice. I hope it goes further in the years to come. But it's no coincidence that also our gas price is lower. The average gas price in November when Donald Trump has been in office is $2.68. The average gas price in November when Joe Biden was in office, $3.47. So if you want to talk about affordability, that's 80-cent difference per gallon on the national average. And that is what helps our food prices go lower. And yeah, it's even our home interest rate. It has, I know I talk energy and I live and breathe in that world, so I'm a little biased, but I can tell you it touches everything that we consume, everything that we use. And so when the cost of that is high, then the cost of everything is going to go up.
The voice you're hearing is Larry Behrens from Power of the Future. Okay, so when you look at what's ahead right now, obviously there are, state aspects of energy and utilities, but the biggest driver is obviously going to be at the federal level. What do we need to be doing or demanding be done in order to keep the momentum on lowering the energy costs, not just holding us where it's at? We've got to drive these costs down.
Yeah, absolutely. The drill baby drill is fantastic. We need to build and build. And we need to, when I say build, I'm talking about we need more refineries, right? We need to disperse our refineries both in terms of location, so that helps drive down prices. Again, blue state regulations sometimes put a big stop to that. But we could be doing it in red states and say, we're going to build refineries here. It's going to drive down gas prices. And then maybe we could sell, gasoline to blue states at a higher rate. I mean, I would love nothing more than a nice refinery in Missouri where we sell gas at a premium to folks in Illinois, just to show them there that elections have consequences. And then also it's the same for electricity. We're going to need more power plants, and we're going to need them yesterday. Not only is demand going up, but that little thing called AI is shoving it through the roof. And so those prices are going to go up as well. That's why you see even Bill Gates saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to go restart 3 Mile Island because we need energy. So we need the federal government to be getting the permitting going on that stuff very quickly, which was something that was hard to do during the shutdown, and also start looking strategically and saying, where in the country do we need some of these refining, processing, and pipelines that are in the best national interest to get moving. And it needs to be done. These things sometimes take decades to build. And so the sooner the better.
Yeah, I want to follow up on that AI thing, because we're having a number of fights in this area here around the data center question because of all the energy they uses and the water that he uses, all of those sorts of things. And one of the arguments is, but the data centers shouldn't result in higher rates for residents and businesses around the area. How is it possible that that could happen? If I build a business or if I rent an office building, I just pay for my stuff. Nobody else is paying my utility rates. How can policy take something like a data center or something connected to AI, which, unless somebody decides unilaterally they're going to unplug from the internet, these things have to be built. So how does that affect ratepayers? Are they not just paying their own way?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Well, first of all, just to get a hint of how big it's going to be, by next year, half of the electricity generated in the state of Virginia could be going to AI. And so this is something that's going to be spreading all over the country, and it's no surprise here. And what they sometimes do, not all of them, I'll need to be clear, what they sometimes do is a little thing called behind the meter. And this is what Bill Gates is trying to do with 3 Mile Island. So he will say, hey, we're Microsoft, we have a bunch of money. We're going to pay to buy a slice of 3 Mile Island so that we have a dedicated source of energy for our data centers. Well, what that does then when I'm talking about we need more energy on our grid to lower the prices, well, that takes a slice of energy off our grid before it can even reach it. And so Bill Gates has secured his own little deal. And we see that sometimes happening with these data centers, whereas, our electricity generation, let's say it's 100 gigawatts or megawatts per hour. If a AI data center comes in and says, hey, I want to buy 5 of those off of you before that even reaches everyone else's grid, well, yeah, they bought 5 off of it, but now our slice of the pie has gone down to 95. That means our bill has gone up. And so those things, they need to be a part of the grid that all of us are paying so that they are paying their fair share of this as well. And so that is one way they can go up. And the other part is just pure usage, right? These data centers use more power than your average commercial section, so they should be paying for the higher cost of the bills. And so I'm hoping I'm trying to be an optimist. I'm hoping it will spur more coal, natural gas, oil, nuclear power plants to be online, because we know we're going to have this appetite for energy. But again, that's going to take time.
Well, just build more solar panels and windmills.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I saw that Bill Gates, who loves solar panels and windmills, when it came time for AI for Microsoft, that's right, he went nuclear.
That's how to do it. All right, Power of the Future. Let's get everybody connected with that. That's a name that I know people have heard on the News Talk STL in our lineup in the past, but people want to get connected. What are they going to find?
Sure, they can just go to powerthefuture.com. If they want to send me hate email, Larry@powerthefuture.com. I'd love to delete it.
There you go. Easy enough. All right, Larry, good chat with you again, man.
Thanks, Mike. Have a great day.
All right. 314-912-1019. Nuclear. Yes. We need more nuclear. I don't know why this is such a surprise for so many people. All right. Congress says release the files. So what is next? We're going to update you on that in the news dump at 8:20.
Inspiration, you have a soul sewn up, it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination, making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now.
Sometimes some things are just social. A cup of coffee with friends, that's social. Go and grab a drink with your friends, that's social. But you know what? So are treats. Mike Ferguson here for my friends at Mario's Donut Restaurant. I'm telling you, go stop by on Mugi Road right now. Go get yourself some donuts. Go get yourself a cup of coffee, maybe a breakfast sandwich. And first of all, there is a difference. I made the mistake, now that I'm used to Mario's Donuts, of having one of those big chain place donuts last week. I regretted it. Tasted like cardboard to me. There really is a difference when they make it fresh right here in St. Louis each morning. But keep in mind, you don't want a donut, saying, no, I want to do something a little healthier. You can still go to Mario's, get that breakfast sandwich, get that omelet, get those eggs, get that great cup of coffee, and just hang out and have a good time there. And Mario's, don't forget, they can cater that office meeting. They can cater that birthday party. You got friends coming over for the holidays, have Mario's cater one of your meals. Just take it off your hands. Mario's Donut Restaurant.com is where you're going to get more information, or just put Mario's Donuts in your maps. It'll take you right there on Mugi Road.
Past? Discover Mimi's Antiques Attic, your locally owned and family-operated treasure hunt destination. Explore 16,000 square feet of antiques, crafts, collectibles, and designer items across 225 unique rental spaces. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 7, and Sundays, 10 to 6 at 1000 Warrenton Shops in Warrenton. Mimi's Antiques Attic, where every visit uncovers new treasures.
JC's Wayback Machine.
It's our Thanksgiving show this week.
We heat the oven to 6,000 degrees.
Don't you think that's awfully hot?
Only for the turkey.
Our celebrity A-list interview of the week is with Steve Martin, talking about the great John Candy and the making of planes, trains, and automobiles. Plus, 3 hours of great songs you just don't hear on the radio anymore. All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9. On News Talk STL.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Lights flickering?
Chrysler can fix it.
Breaker keeps tripping?
That's a Chrysler job.
Outlet not working?
Chrysler makes it right.
Old wiring need a rewire?
Chrysler rewires with care.
From little fixes to major fixes,
We treat your home like our own.
Treat? Did you say treat? Woof.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Let's get back to all this madcap mayhem with Mike Ferguson in the morning. But don't forget, stick around for Jones and Arps every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m.
All right, the Epstein Files bill heads to the president's desk. So that's a victory.
Yes.
But what's next?
That's the question.
Is there going to be another victory, or is there going to be a dead end? We'll get into that in just a minute. The trial that was and then wasn't was again today, unless it's not.
This one, it's hard not to laugh.
I know.
But it's also one of those things where if I wasn't laughing, I might be crying.
You know, that's the thing. It's like the drama surrounding the sheriff continues, and it just seems almost appropriate for there to be something else that's silly that happens in this whole case, even though it's a serious situation.
I'm going to make the craziest drama out of this. This whole case, I swear.
And a 35,000-pound baseball glove, singular, becomes a new landmark in St. Louis as of today. I think this is going to become a landmark.
It was very impressive to see. I saw it. I saw the early construction. I'm like, well, that's about the right size. It's almost, I think it's fully done actually. And this thing is huge.
Yeah. I keep driving by it on Westport Plaza Road. It's not far from the radio station here. And so this thing is so massive, but it's going to be a sight to see them lift that up into the air today. I'll give you the details on that in a few minutes. It is 8:20 right now. Let's do one more news dump here.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. You know, I mean, they got all the news.
The morning news dump.
On this vote, the yeas are 427. The nays are 1. 2/3 being in the affirmative. The rules are suspended. The bill is passed. And without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
All right, Congress votes overwhelmingly to release the government files on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Acting with lightning speed on Tuesday, the House and Senate approved a bill requiring the Justice Department to publicly release the files. The congressional action happened on a single day after months of delay and attempts by President Trump not to release the documents. Since taking office, he had denounced the Epstein matter as a hoax pushed by Democrats, before saying last weekend that Republicans should approve the bill. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Okay, so before we get into the pros and the cons and what's next in our fair, just remember this shouldn't be about the politics.
Mm-hmm.
This should be about the victims and about justice. And prior to that vote, there was a rally. We actually went live to it for a couple of minutes yesterday, including some of the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's network, his evil, whatever it was that it turns out this is going to be. One of those survivors is Annie Farmer, and this is part of what she had to say.
This is not an issue of a few corrupt Democrats or a few corrupt Republicans. This is a case of institutional betrayal. Because these crimes were not properly investigated, so many more girls and women were harmed.
Okay, so the measure, assuming it's going to be signed by the president, I think that it will, the measure would block the DOJ from redacting anything for political or reputational reasons, in theory. That's at least what's in the bill. We'll see whether that actually happens.
Yeah, I want to believe, Mike. But,
I know.
I mean, there's just been so many things that have been going on during this entire fight to get the files released. I don't know how optimistic I can really be at this point, though. I mean, I really truly hope that those that were involved, the Johns of the case that were helping facilitate all this, the people that were in the know and did nothing and sat by while this was going, I want all of that to be exposed, and I want them to face justice.
So we had the victory of this passing Congress, passing nearly, I mean, literally one vote away from being unanimous. So this is as bipartisan as you're possibly going to get, even though I suspect a lot of the people would really wanted this thing to go away, but they don't want to be on the wrong side of this in the 2026 elections. And so they did it. And so we've got that victory, but now it's time to hold the government's feet to the fire and say, actually do it. We're not going to know what they hide if they continue to hide things.
Yeah.
So my hope is that we really do get the full release of all of the documents, but time will tell if we do.
Well, going back to August, I mean, they were already starting to redact certain things. So at this point, I mean, even if it's just the people that they're going to feed to the sharks, I guess it's better than nothing, but long overdue.
Yep. All right. One of the trials of Sheriff Alfred Montgomery was stopped before it started on Tuesday. The sheriff was unable to get to the court due to being in federal custody on multiple criminal charges. So I don't want everybody to get these confused. This is the quo warranto case the attorney general is bringing to get him removed from his elected position, but he's in jail on the criminal charges by the feds. And so the feds didn't bring him to the courthouse. And so in the attorney general's quo warranto case to remove him from office, the judge delayed the case until today. So they're going to try it again today, saying that it would not be fair to have a trial without Montgomery being able to attend. And that makes sense. Like that I get that.
Your Honor, you cannot convict my client because he's still in jail.
That's right. Oh my goodness. So they're going to try again today. We'll see what happens here. Okay. As you know, the FAA has now lifted travel restrictions at all the nation's biggest airports now that the government has reopened. Sean Duffy, transportation secretary, was on Fox Business's Mornings with Maria, kind of giving a recap of here's what happened and why we're trying to move forward now.
We saw, though, more pressure coming from air traffic controllers. We saw risk elevations. And that's why we took the steps to say, you know what, we're going to, over the next week, we are going to reduce capacity by 10%.
Okay, so they're still phasing all of this, back in, meaning the airlines, because you can say the restrictions are lifted, but that doesn't mean they have the capacity just yet. They've got to sort of build this back in. The Department of Transportation, the FAA, they are still hoping that everything is 100% back to their capacity basically by this time next week. So early to this time next week, just before Thanksgiving. But here's the thing. You're going to the airport. Don't be surprised if there are delays. Okay. Just account for that.
And as stressful as it is for everybody that it relies on air travel, while going through this and looking into this, I was reminded that there was a actual air traffic controller shortage under the Biden administration because they had the DEI hiring policies. So they were not hiring qualified candidates that did not meet that. And I'm thinking, well, if that policy had still been in place, this could have actually been so much worse.
Mm-hmm. Oh, without a doubt. Okay. This is interesting. A mental health activist group in Illinois says federal policy changes and likely Medicaid reforms are intensifying what they're calling a youth mental health crisis, especially in vulnerable communities. Karen Foley from the Juvenile Protective Aid Association says schools, and she's talking about public schools, and support organizations are struggling to meet rising needs.
Then you layer on top food cuts, you layer on top of that ICE rage, you layer on top of that the news cycle and social media. And I give kids enormous credit for even showing up and trying.
ICE rage? ICE rage. And she's just saying that as we're supposed to go, oh yeah, well, that's definitely a real thing, ICE rage. And so they're like, well, this is part of the problem. They're reforming Medicaid, and now how are we going to deal with ICE rage of these high school kids?
Yeah, when you think about all the tax burdens that these high school kids are going through, when you think about all of their, that when I was at Illinois public schools, it wasn't the lack of education quality, it wasn't the rampant issues they had with bullying, it was, oh my gosh, what's going on with Medicare right now that was really weighing on, on my mental health.
Yeah. Foley adds that she's worried about increasing anxiety among students in immigrant communities. Imagine that. The ICE rage.
The people that you are telling these bad guys are going to come swoop in. We're going to say ICE 3 times. They're going to show up like Beetlejuice and take you away.
Bloody Mary. Yeah.
Wow. Why are you so afraid of what I'm telling you is totally going to happen?
Good God. All right.
Jeez.
Speaking of Illinois is now issuing digital IDs that can be added to an Apple Wallet and be used as a valid ID.
I don't like it.
No. So the Secretary of State's office, and these are being issued as of today, by the way, if you want one, they're not going to send it to you unless you ask for one. The Secretary of State's office says the digital IDs will be usable at identity readers. So essentially, if they would have scanned your actual driver's license, you can hold your phone up from the Apple Wallet and it'll do the same thing. It will be seen as a valid form of ID, even at TSA checkpoints, and it can be set up to use Face ID to authenticate, I guess, in case you lose your phone or something and you're afraid somebody's going to use your ID with that. The system will soon be compatible with Google and Samsung wallets, State officials say this is not a replacement for a physical driver's license or ID card, though. You'll still need to carry that.
See, there's something that just feels icky about technological corporations, being recognized by the government as you can use their form of ID.
Right.
And I mean, Susie is a phenomenally smart individual, but seeing the look on her face while we were trying to sit there and figure out like what is the point? Why, like, what benefit does this offer that a traditional ID does not have? I mean, I don't know. There's just something icky about it.
Yeah. All right. A couple other things happening here. Let's do a little bit of sports here. A 35,000 pound baseball glove.
Ooh.
Yes, that's going to be hoisted to the top of a building in Maryland Heights today. I'm not sure what time that's going to happen, but sometime today. The massive Rawlings gold glove is going to go on top of the company's world headquarters, which is in Westport. One of the largest cranes in the world had to be shipped in order to complete this project. And I drove by there, obviously, early this morning to get here, and that crane is huge.
Oh, yeah.
But I am telling you, when I am trying to describe how huge this gold glove is, it dwarfs the heavy construction equipment all around it. I mean, hopefully it's still there. They haven't hoisted by the time I leave, because I'll stop and get a picture. This thing is just mind-boggling huge.
Yeah, and for those that have watched our stream before, it's at least two of me. That's how. But no, if you could find a time where this is going to be hoisted up, I think it'd be great for people to come out, kind of watch the lifting, maybe donate some of your canned food to.
That's right.
At the state, because we're right next to the station.
We're like literally about 60 seconds away from this thing. We're right here off Westline Industrial. So yeah, it's going to be cool. I think this is going to be like an instant landmark in St. Louis.
Wow.
And here's the thing, when you drive by on like 270, you're going to be able to see this. You're going to see it off 364. It's not going to look huge from the highway, but I'm telling you, you see it in person, and they've got the area fenced off, but you can see it from 60, 70 yards away, and you will see how massive this thing is. It's really something. All right. The Blues take another loss. Maple Leafs find the net in overtime. They finish up the game 3-2. The Blues have now lost 4 of their 5 games this month. They've only won once on all of November. Road trip continues on Thursday. They are going to be in Philly.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Once I realized I hadn't been fully informed, I sought to find the answer. Some of the answers I don't like.
On NewsTalkSTL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch with your first alert forecast. Going to see some patchy fog this morning as temperatures a little bit colder, back towards the upper 40s, but we're going to continue to warm back up close to the 60-degree mark this afternoon. Looking at mostly cloudy skies and some chances of showers and thunderstorms begin into Thursday. That'll last into Friday evening before clearing for a drier weekend ahead as temperatures are back towards the lower 60s as we look off throughout the second half of the week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Gotch.
Fox News commentary with Brian Kilmeade. Next.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us. And it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
Here's Brian Kilmeade.
If you're already a minority party, attacking your own only digs the hole deeper. But the fight isn't over just because the lights are back on in Washington. The left wing of the party, the socialists, the Marxists, are going after the moderates or the so-called establishment. The longtime effort to keep the lid on the rise of socialists and socialism in their midst has flat out failed. What can Republicans learn from this? In 2013, they did the same thing and they face planted. The shutdown blew up in their face. Obama walked away with the major win. Why? Republicans had no plan. They had no leverage. They had no real strategy to bring the other party to the table. Republicans blamed each other. The Tea Party went after their own in the primaries, leaving them with candidates who just could not win. They learned the hard way. Don't pick the one to please the base. You pick the one that can win the race.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Looking for a fresh eating alternative for you and your family? Head on over to CJ's Restaurant and Bar in O'Fallon. CJ's literally offers something for everyone, from young to old. We're a casual American eatery with a wide-ranging menu of pastas, salads, and sandwiches, all served in a comfortable, warm environment with a family-friendly atmosphere. From vegetarian options to hearty classics. We offer dine-in, carry-out, catering, and even have a banquet room for your special events. Come see us or visit us on the web at cjsofallon.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Brian Pichelle. He is the executive director of Dogs for Our Brave.
I've been very blessed to have incredible support in my life as I battled through my journey of coming back from Iraq and dealing with, PTSD and everything I saw and witnessed as a medic. Not all veterans have that type of support. And ultimately, that's why I say we are a gift of love. We are a gift. We want to be that beacon of hope.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4
on News Talk STL.
Dr. Draghi and his team at Esquire Sports Medicine get pros back on the field so they can certainly help you. You need an MRI, X-ray, CAT scan, pre- or post-surgery treatment, rehab. The chiropractic physicians at Esquire can help you or connect you to experts you need. And I know you're hurting right now. You don't want to wait. Esquire sees new patients often within 24 hours. EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
We talk about race relations.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
And I'm sick and tired of it.
101.9 and 94.1.
I find it to be a conversation starter.
News Talk STL.
Hey folks, Jamie Allman here, waiting for you for the 3 Martini Lunch, the Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Now back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, so here's what I've got. Yes, it's about the illegal alien thing, but it's also about some media locally here. All right, I found this on Fox 2. So some local media telling us we should feel really sorry for a local family because dad got picked up by ICE.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they go so far as to their news website is promoting the GoFundMe to help the family with this illegal alien who's now in detention. So we're going to go through the details on it, but I've just grabbed a couple clips from their report so we can talk about that as well. 8:35 right now. So here are the basic details. Is you've got this family in Baldwin, and of course they do the interview with the mom, and you've got pictures of her playing with their kids. And what happened is dad, who's in the country illegally and apparently has been for a very long time, he got picked up by ICE. But the entire story is framed as, look at these victims. We're trying to hold the politicians accountable who are making this happen. So here's part of Andy Banker's story from Fox 2. We'll make sure that connection's there. And let me click this to make sure we got it. Okay, so here's part of his story.
Lexi Perez turned 1 last month. Her first steps will come with her dad's empty shoes by the front door as he fights deportation from a jail cell. His wife says it's toughest on their oldest daughter, 3-year-old Luna.
Every time I leave or my dad leaves or my mom leaves this house, she's scared that we won't come back, just like daddy is not coming back. But yeah. There's too many things that remind me of him in our home. Everything.
Her 33-year-old husband has been indicted on 1 federal count of illegally re-entering the United States in 2012. She says federal agents picked him up when he pulled into work in Valley Park October 23rd.
He said, I think ICE is here. And I immediately prayed with him on the phone, asking God for protection over him. And I overheard them say to Alejandro Perez, we have a warrant out for your arrest. And he hung up the phone.
Yeah, that kind of pisses me off there. I'll be really honest. I started praying to God for protection. Protection from what? Accountability for breaking our laws? Really?
Yeah, I look around and I see things of him. It just reminds me of him. I mean,
well, yeah, it's his house.
Yeah.
Of course
I mean, But this is the thing, is that this is how emotionally manipulative and exploitative that this side is doing. They're trying to play on your ethos, your compassion for people. It's not like he was just some random guy that got picked up and then arrested over nothing, and now he's hanging out with Sheriff Montgomery. This is a guy that they said illegally. So he was already here.
He was here illegally.
Got
left.
kicked out.
Yeah, and well, as in the next, I'll play another
Okay.
clip, and they call it a self deportation.
But he knew he was trespassing in their country, decided to stop trespassing, and then went back to trespassing here again. And then apparently now he's got a kid with you because two kids.
Yep.
So he started a family in a place where he knew he was eventually, or should have known eventually, that he was going to get caught. And we're supposed to feel bad about that.
Yeah,
I mean, I
see,
feel bad for the kids, but I mean, really?
And I think as local news go, I think Fox 2 does a pretty decent job most of the time. But this entire framing is what you're seeing typically in the news, where journalism's dead for the most part on a lot of these hot button issues. They have simply taken the side. These are the victims and we're advocating. So, but do they get the other side? Well, sort of. Here's another part of Andy Banker's story, once again from Fox 2.
She says the sole reason for his prosecution is his self-deportation in 2012 while caring for a cousin injured while working in the U.S. He came back that same year. She met him while working at the same restaurant in 2019.
Okay, by the way, he came back. What's not said, but what fills in, he came back illegally. Self-deportation. He left the country, went back to where he's supposed to be, worked with whatever family thing is, and then came back in illegally. So just understand that. That's what we're talking about. And we're going back to 2012 here, okay?
They got married in 2020, started a family, and kept working toward his citizenship.
We eventually even got him a work permit, which we were able to get a social security number for him and a driver's license.
They've kept a U.S. map above their kitchen table with pins on all the places they hope to visit. They aren't giving up on that. They worry they may have been misled by past legal advice. Before she decided to go public, we asked an ally of President Trump's, Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt, about the basics of this case.
I know that there are going to be instances that tug at the heartstrings. But the fact of the matter is, Joe Biden opened up our border and stopped enforcing immigration law, and communities have suffered.
These immigration laws are shattering families.
No, the immigration laws are not shattering families. People who choose to violate our laws and are getting caught are shattering families.
So they met working at the same restaurant.
Right.
A few years later, they decided to get married.
2020, because the timeline's important here.
Yes. She knew that he had citizenship problems because they decided to pursue some sort of, getting the work permit.
Right.
And now it is 2025 and it's all coming to roost. And they want us to feel bad that you knowingly basically assisted a fugitive of justice. And I'm thinking I would never in my life try to go into where, it's like employees only area. I wouldn't just walk in there and start, acting like I could be there because I'm not supposed to be there. But for some reason, I'm supposed to feel bad for this person.
Let's talk about the timeline there. They got married in 2020. And since then, they said, we've been trying to pursue citizenship. Okay. But as Senator Schmidt pointed out, those were the Biden years where they were coddling to those in the country illegally. They were offering stuff, whether it was permits or here's your papers, ex post facto papers, even though you're not legal to be in this country. And so they tried to, the Trump administration reversed all that. And you're telling me 5 years, we've been trying so hard to get a citizenship. But how did he get a social security number? How did he get a driver's license if he's in the country illegally? Well, either it was fraudulent or the Biden administration breaking all of the illegal immigration laws in this country in order to coddle to that. So, but they point out he self-deported in 2012 and then came back that same year. He's been in the country illegally since 2012.
Yes.
And you're saying, but we were working on the citizenship. You're telling me that he wasn't able to get legal status or citizenship since at least 2012. It's 2015 or 2025 right now. We're talking 13 years. And that's assuming, I don't know how long he was in the country before that.
Yeah, I can imagine that based on things that I know in my own personal life, that could be the case that they were like, oh, wait, Biden's not going to re-win. And Trump's talking about getting rid of the illegals that shouldn't be here to begin with. Maybe we should start really trying to rush into this and not take our time as much. And I mean, I might have some sort of sympathy if it had been the case where it was he self-deported because he was illegal, came back illegally. But since then, he was granted a citizenship, not by the Obama year, by Biden years, but actually the proper ways of doing it. And they said, well, it's null and void because originally you were here illegally, and now we're going to put you back. I would maybe have, because at least you did what you needed to do, but this is no other crimes, no other sort of, if you are, a lot of them have DUIs for some reason, but if you have a DUI, they take your kid from you and you go to jail. What do you say?
That's separating families, Jerome.
And my little daughter's afraid that they're going to come after us, just like they did daddy, who was swerving on the highway.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing is talk about, our 3-year-old daughter is scared that every time we leave, they're not going to come back. Okay. But the whole framing of that is because of Donald Trump's crackdowns. Instead of your daddy was breaking the law and he got caught by the police. That's not the framing. And then in this story here, because it's like a 3.5 minute story, 4 minute story on there, they kept going on. We reached out to his representatives, Congress, and Wagner. We did not hear back. Basically it was explain yourselves. How can you justify? Because they said, we asked them whether they think he should be deported. Well, if I'm Ann Wagner, I mean, you should probably respond to your media request, but I don't really blame him. It's like, you've got a one-sided story. The premise is, look at the victims of Big Bad Orange Man. Now you can highlight the story and get a balanced view of it. But this whole thing, because they actually in the article, and they said on the air, the link to the GoFundMe to help the family is listed at Fox 2's website. They are promoting the fundraising to help an illegal alien in this country.
That is ridiculous. And if you're so worried about how your daughter views the world now, how about you explain, well, honey, we are not at risk.
Yeah.
We are citizens. We follow the law, and you don't need to be afraid of these people. Unfortunately, I helped daddy make a very bad decision, and he's suffering the consequences of breaking the law.
And the wife in that story went on to say that if he is deported, then she and her girls will go to wherever he is. Okay,
good.
Great. Fantastic.
That should be what the GoFundMe is for, is help us go and get out of the country so we can go be with this guy in his homeland.
But don't blame the immigration laws or ICE for separating families when you just got caught doing something illegally. And it's just, this is the kind of thing. And again, Fox 2 overall, I think, does a decent job of covering the news. I think journalistically they generally do an okay job. But this story just stuck out like a sore thumb. And the whole premise, Orange Man Bad is destroying families by pursuing illegal aliens, which is exactly what he got elected to do in part.
How dare they enforce laws that have existed since the early 1900s? I mean, goodness gracious. Now, if your blood pressure is kind of raised like ours might be, now might be a good chance to figure out what songs you'd like to hear to help bring us into a very nice weekend. Go ahead and submit those to Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com. It has to be made between January 1st and 1980 and December 31st, 1989. So you're not going to slide it past me. I fact-checked the dates. Some of you guys are trying to be sneaky. Just like with our border, you're not sneaking in with those. So go ahead. 80s bump music, Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.
When it comes to spending your tax dollars and teaching your kids, governments and school districts should be an open book. But in Missouri, that's not always the case. Recently, the Show Me Institute sent out a sunshine law request to school districts across the state, asking for information on whether certain topics are being taught. Specifically, a controversial one called critical race theory was included in the list. Many districts didn't respond. Some wanted to charge large fees to process the documents. Lee's Summit outside Kansas City wanted over $35,000. A rural district, Morgan County, wanted $15,000. The Sunshine Law does allow charging a reasonable fee for sending out information, but there's nothing reasonable about $35,000 or $15,000. These districts should want to be transparent about their curriculums. Taxpayers deserve to know what their kids are being taught. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hi, Sean Long from STL Fence Works, and I've got some great news for families thinking about adding a fence or deck. While other companies are struggling with delays and rising costs, our commitment to American-made materials is saving our customers money. Picture your kids playing safely in your perfectly fenced backyard or hosting friends on your beautiful new deck, all while knowing you got the best value for true American quality. Whether you're dreaming of a classic ornamental fence or low-maintenance vinyl, or maybe that custom deck that you've been considering, our American-made materials and expert craftsmanship deliver superior results at prices other companies simply cannot match. This really is the golden time for your backyard project, and we have flexible financing options to make it even easier. Your satisfaction is our passion, and that's a promise. Visit stlfenceworks.com and let's lock in your savings and satisfaction today.
Colombo and Company.
A federal court just blocked the new congressional map in Texas. Could it have any influence on that issue here? We'll discuss Wednesday with Mo political insider Rodney Boyd, plus Danny Define and Closest Cabinet.
Live and local weekdays at 2
on NewsTalkSTL.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning, people.
Okay, I keep going back to this Rawlings Gold Glove thing.
Yes.
I mean, one, because I drive by it every day
Mhm.
here at the radio station. Do you think this becomes like an instant landmark in the St. Louis region?
I think that if they had left it at a ground level or at least somewhere that maybe you can't climb on top of, but it's still immediately visible, it could have been. It's that little plaza that's
Because you've got the giant baseball.
Yes. So I think if they had utilized that, I mean, and there was like an outdoor walking area because there's restaurants and stuff. I think it could have been, but in terms of putting it on top of the building, I don't think enough. I mean, if we weren't talking about it and they just put that up, I don't think I probably would have ever recognized it or realized it was up there.
And they had to shut down an entire parking lot in order to put this thing together.
Yeah.
That's how big it is. Okay, so for those of you, like if you know the Westport area, like Jerome's just describing, that baseball in front of the Rawlings World Headquarters, it's a big gold baseball. It's taller than you. I mean, Jerome, you're 4, something like that?
About 6'4.5", 6'5".
6'5". It's taller than you.
Yes.
It's huge.
I could probably curl up in that.
Oh, totally easily. And here's the thing. This baseball glove by scale could catch that baseball.
And that baseball is also much bigger than I am.
Yes. I'm saying is that baseball, I don't know how tall it is, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's 9-10 feet tall.
Yeah.
And this baseball glove is proportionally big enough that in theory, the giant wearing this glove could catch that baseball. That's how big this glove is. So today, and I don't know when, maybe they're doing now, I don't know, but at some point they're gonna hoist this thing up hundreds of feet in the air and place it on top of the Rawlings World Headquarters in here in Westport in Maryland Heights. And so you're going to have that. Obviously the arch is another landmark. I would say Busch Stadium is clearly a landmark.
Oh yeah.
So you've got those things that you drove by and you go, oh, look, and so I just got to think that when people are driving, they're going to see that gold glove, because that's really Rawlings brand is the gold glove. And so there it is. But from the highway, it's not going to do justice to the size of this thing.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly where it's supposed to be placed, but that's actually a really good point. Is that I've been looking at this from the perspective of somebody that has to commute past that area.
Right.
And there are quite a few tall buildings in the area. But I'm sure if you're driving far enough away and you see it off the horizon, I mean, it's gold, it's metal, it probably reflects a bit. So it could be one of those things. Now, the other thing I was thinking, though, is the arch and those sorts of landmarks were built around St. Louis because it was supposed to be a thriving hub of activity, and this was to draw people in. And so with the way St. Louis has chosen to conduct itself, that's sort of dying and people are spreading out now. So is this an indicator that maybe moving out this way is going to be the next big move and we might see more business coming this way?
I think so. We're already seeing that. I actually saw, because there's like on social media, there's this like hardcore group of like downtown St. Louis defenders. They get really mad when you critique the city over anything, or they get really mad when businesses leave. And I actually saw one saying, well, that glove should have been placed in downtown St. Louis. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Rawlings World Headquarters is in the county. I mean, why wouldn't you put it where the actual headquarters is? I mean, and it's a really cool thing. You can walk in for free. I mean, they sell stuff. They sell bats and they sell gloves and all that. They've got a batting cage. Your kids can get in there.
Oh.
But they also have like a small museum, historic museum. they've got actually, gold gloves of years past, some of your favorite players, uniforms from some of my favorite player of all time was Johnny Bench. Last time I was in there, they had one of his Cincinnati Reds jerseys.
Wow.
They had Ryan Sandberg from the Chicago Cubs died earlier this year. When he died, one of his old Cubs jerseys was hanging there. I don't know if it's still there now, but they moved those out and they've got a lot of historic artifacts, in there. It's just a really, really cool area. But for somebody to go, well, that gold glove should have been in downtown. Like, why? I mean, they act like everybody should be trying to rebuild downtown. It's like, no, we're running from downtown because of what it's become.
Yeah, that's been, and again, that goes partially into taxes as well, because they have the 1%. If you work
Oh,
there,
yeah.
they're entitled to 1% additional taxes, and yet they can't figure out how to make the city safer and fill in some of these potholes. And again, this we're not knocking Kara Spencer specifically for that, because it's been a long
Yeah.
accumulating issue. But if you are that passionate about, well, we need more landmarks in St. Louis to push tourism, well, you have to fix the problem.
Yeah.
You can't just keep throwing people and saying, hey, come in here and spend your money. Oh, but you don't feel safe spending your money here.
Yeah, the same Florida. You don't say we're going to start with a tourist destination, then try to build a community. You have to build a community and then maybe attract people to it as a tourist destination. It goes the other way around. This isn't Florida. This isn't Southern California. You don't have the luxury of the weather.
Yeah, and again, going back to Chicago, the Bean, everybody talks about
Oh,
the
yeah,
Bean,
I've been
but
there.
I mean, that's also a little bit of a nicer part of
It
Chicago.
is, and it's a really cool park.
It is, yes. And then you also have the piers, and then you also have the Navy Pier, and then you also have like the Sears Tower. Well,
Yeah.
they call it the Wills Tower now, but it will always be
It's
the
the
Sears.
Sears. It's like calling Riverport something other than Riverport.
Yeah.
It's always going to be Riverport.
Exactly. But
Darn it.
Exactly. But if Chicago didn't at least get those areas, making them
Yeah.
accessible enough, and then also have them be somewhere you felt safe bringing your
Yeah.
kids, bringing your loved ones, bringing whoever to come and do, experience that, then guess what? Nobody's going to be there. It's not going to be there very
Mhm.
long. And then what was the point of even having it there in the first place?
Yeah. And so Kara Spencer is definitely taking the right approach by saying we got to deal with these critical infrastructure things. We got to deal with public safety. Now, the state is taking away oversight of the police department. That's a big step in the right direction.
Yeah.
That
Unfortunately,
it had to be done.
It had to be done.
So, now they're going to have to spend the money to re-up, and you're seeing officers come back and you're seeing their recruitment get better. So the public safety is turning around, but it's going to be quite a while before they can get it to a level where it's like attractive to go back downtown at night, especially on a weekend. They're just not there yet.
And I think this is reference to Riverport, but the casino ruined that area, says Kathleen.
It kind of did.
Bring back all the music venues and the restaurants, but get rid of the casino.
Well, yeah, you're not getting rid of it at this point. It's too big, but I don't disagree with that. Of course, I look at that area, I'm like, I still miss Noah's Ark. Yeah, and everybody who knows the area knows what I'm talking about when I say Noah's Ark, which was right around that area where like the streets of St. Charles is now.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't think that. I mean, I'm sure financially from St. Charles, the casino's bringing in a crap ton of money, but yeah, I don't think given the historic nature of that area, I don't know that the casino has really improved the area. I think Kathleen's actually got a point there.
Yeah, giving an outlet to people that probably have impulse issues, and then giving them a place to drink and feed that impulse probably is not always the best idea.
I've been to like some charity things in their conference rooms thing there. I haven't been there in years. I mean, there's a concert coming up this week actually that I thought about going to. Tickets are just more than I'm willing to spend, but they bring in a lot of concerts, a lot of 80s rock shows, and like Dawkins going to be there this week, and Dawkins and Lynch Mob, both going to be there. I mean, George Lynch is part of both of them, but yeah, and I'm like, I'd really love to go, but $80 to $110 for that show. I love those bands, but no, I don't per ticket. No, I'm not doing that.
And that's another part of the equation when we were talking about keeping an active nightlife. So, for example, like, Chicken and Pickle in downtown St. Charles area, and like that entire strip, it seems to be set up in a way to benefit having something that you might be willing to spend a little bit more because you're getting a whole experience around it. But music venues, I mean, it seems like nowadays that they're just getting so darn greedy with how much they want to put their tickets out for, and sometimes even the fees included with it.
And the ones that are trying to be really affordable are struggling. I saw online that Diamond Music Hall closed down. Now, we knew they were going to move to Warrenton, but that was going to be at the end of the year, but they've apparently shut down early.
Wow.
So I guess they're not there anymore. And I have seen so many great shows. Our first radio station birthday party was at Diamond Music Hall. on our first anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah, but Diamond Music Hall was like, they brought in shows that you knew, a variety of music styles, but they kept it affordable, and they're not there. So what's that tell you?
Yeah.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
You know, when you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
Hello, Kirk Hilsinger, Chairman of the Republican Party, City of St. Louis. Join us for our Christmas party on December 11th. Tickets may be purchased by cash or check, or you may purchase tickets through our website at stl-gop.com. We'll have dinner and silent auction. In addition, we will be collecting donations for Toys for Tots. So bring an unwrapped toy for a family in need. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we look forward to fighting for you in 2026.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Fall rebates are here at Johnson Heating and Cooling. Save up to $600 off your new heating and cooling system. Plus, get a free humidifier when you purchase a complete system. And here's the best part. We're offering up to 0% financing for 60 months. That means you can stay comfortable all winter without breaking the bank. Don't forget our $99 furnace checkup. These incredible offers expire November 30th. Call 636-332-4141 or visit johnson-heatingandcooling.com.
The left, for months now,
One by one,
have been begging for a civil war.
every caller gets their say.
We got to stop and not put these officers in situations where they feel like they have to overreact.
And whether you agree
We have to assume some responsibility because I'm a black man.
or disagree,
I think you're politically wrong.
I do not need athletes to tell me.
you're invited to join the conversation.
Thank you for canceling all your games. Now I get it.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. The U.S. and Saudi Arabia will be strengthening their military ties now that President Trump has formally designated the kingdom a major non-NATO ally. He announced the move while hosting the Saudi Crown Prince at the White House last evening. Mr. Trump also announced a major Saudi investment in the U.S.
Here, one country is putting $1 trillion into the United States. That creates national security. And, you know, I think that they don't have to say that, but I think a big part of that is also the fact that tariffs are in play. But even beyond tariffs, that's a real ally that will do that. It creates a lot of power for the United States.
And guess who came to dinner at the White House last evening? None other than Elon Musk. As far as we know, it was his first time back at the White House since his falling out with the president over details of the big, beautiful bill. Congress has voted to release the Epstein files.
After the House overwhelmingly approved the bill with only one no vote, the Senate quickly approved it. The votes came after months of White House opposition. The legislation compels the Justice Department to release its case files on Jeffrey Epstein, the well-connected financier who was charged with sexually abusing and trafficking underage girls.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston says the Epstein bill now awaits the president's signature. One-time Clinton Treasury Secretary and Epstein acquaintance Larry Summers is leaving OpenAI's board of directors. The ChatGPT maker announced his departure after emails detailed Summers' friendly relationship with Jeffrey Epstein long after Epstein had pleaded guilty to crimes involving an underage girl back in 2008. Watching Wall Street this morning, the Dow trading about 101 points higher. The NASDAQ is up close to 300 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Just how good is Pure Talk's current deal for unlimited wireless? Well, you might say it's the deal of your lifetime. Because right now, for just $29.95 a month, Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for life. Not your phone's life, your life. This is Pure Talk's top tier plan. It comes with a crazy fast 5G network along with a 30 gig hotspot. And at just $29.95 a month, there has never been a better opportunity to lock in a ridiculously low rate for as long as you live and save thousands and thousands of dollars along the way. This plan is normally $65 a month, but if you switch today, you will save over 50% every single month for the rest of your life. See what I mean? It really is the deal of your lifetime. Dial pound 250, say micro. Offer ends 12/7. Some restrictions apply. Details at Pure.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. Going to see some patchy fog this morning as temperatures a little bit colder back towards the upper 40s, but we're going to continue to warm back up close to the 60-degree mark this afternoon. Looking at mostly cloudy skies and some chances of showers and thunderstorms begin into Thursday. That'll last into Friday evening before clearing for a drier weekend ahead as temperatures are back towards the lower 60s as we look off throughout the second half of the week. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, homeowners, when is the last time you checked your home title? Scammers are everywhere, and they're targeting your equity. With just a single forged document, they can file at the county. So don't wait until it's too late. Find out if you are already a victim today. Please go to HomeTitleLock.com. Use the promo code BILL to get a free title history report, plus a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. On this Wednesday, after decades of experiencing horrendous violence, the Mexican people are finally demonstrating against their government's impotence in fighting against the drug cartels. As we write in Confronting Evil, cartel leaders have amassed billions of dollars while murdering at will and, of course, sending poison to the USA and other countries. In addition, cartel thugs terrorize the Mexican people by extorting legitimate businesses and violently attacking any and all opposition. President Trump has offered to coordinate with Mexico to destroy the cartel leadership, but Presidente Claudia Sheinbaum loudly declined. Why? I believe Ms. Sheinbaum is frightened for her own safety. There is no other reason, and reasonable people know it. The Mexican government is simply not strong enough to control the drug merchants.